Oh, I was going to say Deanna as well, but for Malia, do you have a time tomorrow that you have to socialize that you want me to pull up? What time the socialization has to happen, or the time that you have to mentally prepare yourself to socialize? That also. I will also be on YouTube tomorrow as well. And then, Malia, if you want to watch this back again to prepare for tomorrow, I'm going to download this tonight. 5 p.m. Okay. So if we'll do, let's see, 5 p.m. And then I'll put in Germany. So that way it actually is 5 p.m. Oh, I have to do that. Hold on. Let me do this first. Hold on. So the mental preparation I can help you with. And then you can watch it again and again on YouTube if you need the word of encouragement or any words of encouragement that come through. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. And I'll be on till about like 9:30 tonight, just for context. So again, if you guys want to snag a reading, you know where to do that. Let's see. Okay, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I need to make flashcards to help me remember all of the military time. I feel like I say this, and then I'll just do general. I'll say Berlin. Let's do that. Okay. So for tomorrow, right? So if it's 5 p.m., let's see. What time is it for you right now, Malia? Is it still Friday even? Yes, PM and AM. Yes, exactly. It's like the reverse, right? We always have to run the practice. Okay, so it's early. Oh, 1 a.m. Okay, so it's already tomorrow. So hello from the future. Hello from the past, I should say. So for tomorrow, right, having to socialize. Hi, Holly, welcome. Hi, Katie. Having to socialize, right? If we're looking at this chart and what the energy is going to feel like tomorrow, right, for you. So, and this is how it's going to feel. Thank you, Sarah. This is how it's going to feel for everybody. So if we were to take a snapshot, basically, oh, geez, Holly, I don't know what you're talking about. Wrong place, girl. 6 sets of who? I don't know. Bye. We're muting you. Sorry, you're welcome, but not to spam my chat. We have some decorum here. We believe in pleasantries. It is. It's a weird vortex, I'll say, right? It's feeling kind of the energy in general, right? If we take a step, if I pause for a second before we go in, it's kind of like I'm feeling the expansion and contraction of like people in general right now. And thank fuck, as Anna posted today too, Mars is now in Leo instead of Cancer. So it's adding though to that fire energy because Neptune is also, yes, Neptune and Taurus season. Yes, thank you. We have the earth and fire, right? Where we were used to like a lot of water and fire, right? So we're feeling that shift, but all that to say, for those of us who are going to be alive and in the world tomorrow, right? If we were to take a snapshot on what a person would look like, right? Or what the energy of the day, if we were to personify the energy of the day, tomorrow, it would be that of a manifesting generator with an emotional authority and a 3-5 profile, right? So let me see if I can do that a little bit. I'm going to zoom in a little, so hopefully it makes it a little less grainy for you guys. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Hi, Amber. Thank you. So manifesting generator 3-5, right? I think of this as like a kind of helpful socialite, right? So I actually really like it for you as a mental projector, Malia, because it's going to give you a little bit of that extra oomph to want to connect with people. I would say using your discernment and making sure that like you kind of do some things when you get a good night's sleep, right? Since it is the early morning hours already tomorrow for you, right? Hi, Neutrino Radio. Having a little bit of helpful energy. Oh, wait, hold on. I just realized that I put this in for today. But we should still be in our man-genness because of, we do this 19th, 2025, April 19th, and then at 5 p.m. I actually have my Mars line runs through Germany, so it'd be a fun and funky place for me to go. Hello, happy Friday. Thank you, Sarah. There we go. Yeah, so we still have the manifesting generatorness, still emo, right? And our gate of crises, gate of change connection here. We're going to have this for a little bit now. Our North Node, gate 36 right now of Pisces, crises, Pisces. Gate 6 is our South Node, gate of friction, right? So I think it's like the best way that I can describe it with the energy right now and how you will feel tomorrow as well, Malia, is like, things are so crazy that I might as well have a good time. Like kind of like for a lot of people I've been talking to or chatting with, it's like, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But there's also this feeling of kind of relief right now. Yeah, yeah. The exhaustion being real. It's so true. I pulled my planner out, got tired. And I was like, nope, yeah. I feel like because for projectors too, right? So Deanna, Anna, and Malia, you guys are all projectors, right? My consistent projectors that I have here. I got a lot of non-sacrals. Hey, Hurricane, welcome back. Nice to see you again. So it's like this, okay, I feel the sudden change. I've like absorbed everything in my environment and feeling how people are feeling this shift. Hello, from Mars in Cancer to the very early 0 degrees, early stages, degrees of Leo. And I'm like, oh, wait, something is happening right now. What's going on? What are the shifts that are happening right now? As an Aquarius rising and whole sign, Leo is in my 7th house. So I was very happy to have Mars in Cancer leave my 6th and enter into my 7th house, right? That's not a perfect equation because I do prefer Placidus. But yeah, so we're definitely feeling that, right? I know. Yes. I had, so I drove to the wedding yesterday and it was 3 hours away from my house, just under 3 hours. It actually took me 3.5 hours to get there. And I had, oh yes, that's right, D. I forgot about that. That's right. Maybe we could talk about, I don't know, for Deanna and Anna, do you guys want to talk about your Mars for May? Mars for May. I like the alliteration too in Patreon. You think that would be helpful for like from an activity standpoint for you guys? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I wasn't that Holly, that wasn't my account, so I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm not, if it was a giveaway, you may have seen like an old video of mine. And there was also like numbers that you put in that didn't make sense for my old giveaway that I was doing. So I think you have me confused with somebody else, but sorry about that. I don't know what that was. Yeah. I think the glitch was that it maybe looked like it was mine. Oh, okay. You didn't comment. Oh yeah, but that wasn't on my page. I can guarantee you that. So it sounds like you may have clicked on something that wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, Martian May. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that would be nice because Mars is now, yes, in my first, yes. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, I'll talk about Mars energy for you. Patreon. Okay. And that'll be a nice like addition to everything that we talked about. And what I'll do is I'll look at your the gates too. Hi Trick. We'll look at the gates for your Mars placement so that we can go a little bit deeper there as we did for last what should we call it? Last training or for last, I was gonna say last week. I was like, was that last week already? But yeah, my exhaustion yesterday, the 3 hours, I was in the car for 6 hours and only at the wedding itself for like 3. So it was like an exhausting kind of time there to go back and forth. But I really do enjoy like driving, especially when it's like kind of a nice like drive through the majority of Pennsylvania. And then just kind of taking that. And it was also the moon being in Sagittarius yesterday was like perfect for that. Like communing with people, connection, right? The moon will still be in Sagittarius, or actually it'll be in Capricorn tomorrow. That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't believe the Sag moon transit is over. We were talking about that actually. Riley, whose wedding it was an astrologer. So we were talking about that. And then Mars being on her ascendant, it made sense for this time too. And it was funny because we say the same thing where as much as we like looking into like dates and times and things along those lines, when it comes to like planning, then just kind of being like, oh my gosh, I could go so deep and I could look so much at all the transits and all the dates to do all these things, but let me just kind of intuitively pick. And then you retroactively look, and she was like, oh, we ended up having off this week because she's a teacher and it's Easter, so her spring break was the week before, I think, as most schools are. And so it was funny for her transits to look at that. And then her partner, Mac, is Pisces and is born on March 17th. So there's a lot of Piscean energy going on with me there too. So it was fun. Yeah, okay. Yes, I looked at my Venus. Oh, Venus gates today. I love that. Yes, I'm so glad. It makes me so happy to see you like incorporating all of the stuff in real time. So yeah, what's interesting too, and I've been thinking about this too in relation to values in Venus, and I have some things percolating, which I alluded to again on Instagram, and about Venus and making content around that. And I was thinking of it not just monetarily because of Friday and what we were talking about in Patreon, but for values of people. And then people who I've like content that we'll see every once in a while, especially for those of us who are in this vein, will get a lot of content that's around like psychology or like perspectives on like Robert Greene, like the 48 Laws of Power, and then people doing like the 48 Laws of Power ethically, right? And like looking at that, and my Scorpio, of course, like loves that. I'm like, let me read it so like I know if someone's trying to manipulate me. As if our intuition, I think for all of us collectively here, as if our intuition can't tell us that anyway. But it's interesting to see from like a very Mars, war, Aries, gotta get the land, gotta capture the village, gotta take all of these people out, like that perspective, and think about astrologically kind of what was happening at that time. But with open or undefined G center folks, right? Like how these are people, and it's interesting because I made a video around like between Thanksgiving and Christmas about Ariana Grande, when a lot of the promo from Wicked was happening. She's a projector, and she has a completely, projector. She has an undefined G center. And Dee, I'll answer your question in a second. Hi, Tina, thank you. An undefined G center. So that's where we get every like book, movie, song, whatever, not even a book, but everything she's promoting, it's like a different person, like completely like complete shift in identity. Whoever she's dating, the people that she's around, taking on the like vibes and the vocabulary, the vernacular, right? For better, for worse, right? Ethically or unethically, right? There's a lot of arguments we can make. She's a pretty polarizing figure, I think, when it comes to that. But it's interesting, like when you kind of see these archetypes of people who are very much so in the public eye, and they're perceived for a living, right? As a lot of celebrities, that's their shtick, right? But how they have that undefined G center. Yeah. And it's like, oh, of course now we're becoming enmeshed here, you know, that codependency, the detrimental aspect, so to speak. Hi, Cosmic Fairy Love, of the undefined G center being in a deficit, you know, like not having that great of a time there. Yeah, taking it slow. It's interesting because the moon will be in Capricorn in the gate of fighter tomorrow too. So Malia, even though I know as a projector you don't do this anyway, but being a mental projector, if somebody is wrong tomorrow or says something that kind of seems like out of character, just like let them be wrong, right? Not to like hype on the Mel Robbins vocab like bandwagon, like let maybe it's not a time. Even if they give you an invitation, like take an extra step tomorrow. Now again, Mars in Leo. Yeah, exactly. Helpful reminder to use you as our helpful example. But yeah, and that's such a saving grace. I think Deanna, like what that will do for her, and then having a mommy who's raising her on, you know, human design principles, or I should say with human design principles in mind, like she will take that. And I have a client that is in her third round of mentorship with me that has an undefined G center. And it's like a lot of the ways that we share, because she is a motivational speaker too. Thank you for sharing the live. And like, yeah, I appreciate you guys doing that. She has an undefined G center, and it's like being able to, how I word it is like take a sip of water, kind of get an understanding of the taste or the flavor of what, again, I have taste cognition, so strongest sense taste. So I always use sense or food as vocab words or examples, but taking a little bit of taste of that person's energy. And then it's like when you go wine tasting. Yeah, absolutely, RK. Whatever's open is there. So I'll see it pop up. I have my notifications on my second screen here, so that your info is protected. So yeah, I would love to read for you. Thank you. But then we pivot, right? We take the sip of wine and then we spit it out into the spittoon or whatever it's called, right? I'm thinking of the salty spittoon from SpongeBob, but that bucket, right? You kind of like, you're supposed to just taste the wine and spit it out. And so it's, if you're doing it right, thank you, Hurricane. If you're doing it right, you know, with the open or undefined G center, it's a great tool, right? All of our open centers are great tools, but it's the fact that like people have the good parts beat out of them by society, right? Like we were talking Hurricane about Lady Gaga with the undefined throat center. And I forget who it was. Thank you that you asked me about. But it, you know, words to that effect of like undefined centers aren't bad. It's just that like our world was not made with serving all parts of everyone. Hi, Michaela. Hi, Half Baked. How are you? Happy belated birthday. I believe you're a Pisces sun, if I'm remembering correctly. Or a Pisces. There's some big Pisces energy that you have like me. Hi to your brother as well. I hope he's doing well. But yeah, that like thinking about that. Yes, happy belated. Hello. I love the new fire emoji. That's one of my favorites, the fire heart emoji. Before I pivot over for a reading in the next 5 minutes, let me pin, let me see. Dee had a question. Oh, let me see. Pin, could you do a video, could you do Virgo in the second house? I seen you doing, wait, hold on. It's not letting me like hit the little down arrow. Video like that. Oh yes, on YouTube Shorts, I'm going through and doing a different series for signs of the second house to kind of give you that structure, right? They were talking about. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, you're getting kicked off TikTok. That's so annoying. Yeah, I wonder why. I just saw that come through. But yeah, Virgo, I'm doing Virgo and Gemini in the second house over on YouTube Shorts next. So I'll walk you through that. And I've been liking, I think it's helpful. I know that you guys have reflected back to me. A lot of what you like is like the 3 tips of like, here's 3 things, like practical exercises, which as I've said this 109 times, you know, I feel like every time I'm live almost, but like you can look at all of the definitions at any account, but I'm like, okay, the next step that I needed that I didn't want to be gatekeepy for people is like, now I know that when I'm a Virgo second house, yeah, it means that I like to be organized. I want to look at what my Mercury sign is doing, but like, okay, cool, I know this, but like, give me, what's the next kind of like step? Like, where do I go from there? And I don't think that it's over delivering to, okay, I see that. Thank you. It's not over delivering, you know, for myself, right? Use your discernment for how you guys are, for those of you that are fellow readers and practitioners and whatnot, to give somebody the example, right? Like, especially as a 1-3, or for any of my other 1-3s here, I'm like, where, you know, what's the next step? Like, this is cool. Okay, now I get it. But like, I'm stuck. I'm in analysis paralysis. I have executive dysfunction, right? I was there. I had those things and I was like, oh, now I see it, right? Now I get it. So just a kind of helpful thought, but that's what we're doing over on YouTube. And if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel over there, I highly recommend it. Because I do different content, and then just because of like the volatility of this app and like whatever is going on, you know, even just with the whatever weird glitch that Holly was mentioning with some like fake giveaway that it looked like, or, you know, sometimes it could be user error, sometimes it's not, but I just like to cover my bases with that. So same username, Brenna's here, as well. So I have to change the song because there's like a part of it, like she does this like vocal flux, which is nice, but it is going to distract me. So I'll play Bad Bunny instead. We'll just start dancing instead. Okay, so I'm just going to start a little bit early here while we're hanging out. So I brought up beautiful RK's chart here. Thank you for booking a reading with me. And if anyone else wants to do so, again, the link is in my bio. I'll be on for another hour. So $10, 10 minutes, $12. So how to best deal with my emotions and what to focus on in life. Like if I should go into teaching or leading, or how to use what gifts I have in my life. So that's a beautiful question. And one of the main things that I love to help people solve. So the first thing that I'll say, right, and I think it's a really good mindset to adopt whenever you're looking at human design, astrology, a combination of it all, right? And it's to ask yourself, okay, I have this inkling and this desire to kind of go into the realm of like teaching, leading, life coaching, navigating. It makes so much sense because you're a 4-6 profile, which I'll talk about in a second. In addition to right angle cross of leadership, which is your incarnation cross, or your life theme in human design. And so it's not a matter of like looking at human design and being like, tell me who I am, like predict what my ideal career is going to be or how I'm going to be successful. It's how do I choose what excites me the most, right? Especially for you being a man gen like myself, we have sacral definition there, right? What gets me excited in my gut? I know I like to lead people. I know I like to guide people, but then we look at this as a tool to say, okay, but what does teaching look like for me as RK? Right? What does teaching look like for Brenna? What does it look like for Sarah? What does it look like for D? What does it look like for Hurricane? What does it look like for Neutrino? Right? Like everyone is going to have a different way and method to their madness. That's why a college doesn't just have one professor, right? Of one subject all the time. Although sometimes they struggle and they do, right? But neither here nor there. So to kind of start off with your first part of your question. So how to best deal with my emotions, right? Your question, because the second part of that and what to focus on in your life, that's a twofold question. That's a twofold balance there, because what I see, right, or what I look at when I see that somebody's an emotional authority and they're asking me how to navigate their emotions, or the human design vocab way to say that is navigate their emotional wave. That emotional wave, or the way that you process your emotions, or how you are an emotional authority, tongue twister, is because you have a specific channel or more. Sometimes it could be more than one, which is in your case, you have 3, right? That manifest in the way that you process your emotions. So the reason you have a defined emotional center and are an emotional authority is because you have the 1222 channel, the 1949 channel, and the 4130 channel, all as like 3 basically like outlets that are plugged into your solar plexus. So that's good data, because it tells us that, yeah, this person's going to be emotional. Hi, Megan. This person's going to feel something, right? This person's going to feel a lot. And they're like, God help me, right? So then, okay, we know this. What do we do about it? So a couple things. Being a manifesting generator, we're looking at different pockets of circuitry, which means how do your energy centers flow within each other, right? Where does energy flow through your energy centers, aka your chakras, right? We're looking at Kabbalah. We're looking at the Hindu Brahmin chakra system. These 2 channels at the bottom here combine a lot of Aquarius energy. Gate 19 is an Aquarius placement. Gate 49 is an Aquarius placement. Gate 30 is an Aquarius placement. Okay, so we have this energy of like, okay, I feel a lot. And as we know, Aquarian placements are Aquarian humanitarian. It's how do I feel in relation to how is this affecting other people? Which is good, but it's also not great at the same time. We're like, okay, I care for people, right? But I need to remain healthily detached to make sure that I'm decisions emotionally based on what RK needs, not what somebody else's needs are, right? Gate 49 is my Mercury placement. Gate 19 is my rising sign gate. So I know this well, right? Your rising sign gate won't be defined. So I don't have the 4919 channel, but yeah. Yes. And that is good data that you're paying attention to, right? So you're like, okay, when I feel bad for other people and I people please, right? Because that's just the baseline vocab for what that is. It makes you feel sick emotionally and physically. And it could be like, I feel bad for this animal because, I looked at the poor possum that died on the side of the road because it got hit by a car, right? Sorry, guys, to my animal drivers. I have to go like this when I'm driving. I'm like, I hate seeing animals that are hurt, right? It's like, it doesn't mean that you have to be overly martyring yourself all the time, although there's definitely a predisposition here of nurturing that nature, that part of your nature, and using it as a deficit to your energy rather than bringing the scales balanced or supplementing to give you more energy to care for people. So the key kind of like, what do we do with this is the thing I always give for my emotional authorities, especially if you're just starting to kind of unmuck, nervous system regulation, your human design experiment, giving yourself at least like minimum 24 hours to process like how you actually feel in relation to this emotional thing that just happened. Now, every day of our lives, there are more than one thing that we can see, that we can read, that we can process, that can happen, that we're trying to process at one time, right? So give yourself the grace of time and know that when you say, I want to say yes, but just give me a day to answer you, there is so much more power that you call back, right? When people say those mantras on TikTok, it's like, how do I call my power back? That's the way that you do it. Or a mantra, or listen to the subliminal to call your power back. It's like, oh, okay. When you as an emotional manifesting generator calling your power back is saying, I want to say yes. I think I may have something else going on. I want to just look at my calendar. Give me a day to think on it so I can get back to you and be more effective and not waste your time, like, you know, trying to configure this and text back and forth. My brain just can't process that in this moment. Is really good practice. And then if you wait another day and you're still not ready to commit or change or, you know, make a decision or feel rushed to make a decision because somebody's pressuring you, right? Putting some thoughts in this very active mind that you have up here. It's the mental anxiety is very real for you. You say, okay, I'm just vocab, communication, right? Because we have two channels going from your root to your emotional center, but one channel that goes to your throat, which tells me that communicating how you feel emotionally is very important to you. But what really matters here as well, gate 22 and gate 12, is that gate 22, this is my Venus gate placement. So I know it well, it's a Pisces placement meets gate 12, which a couple folks like Anna have here. Gate of caution. I feel like I should talk to somebody in this time. Intuitively, when I don't overrule my emotions with my logical mind, I feel that even though I know that I have a window at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and that is logically when it's convenient for me to text this person to say, hey, I can't come to the movies with you. For whatever reason, intuitively, it actually would feel better if I waited until my lunch break in the afternoon, proceeding with caution. Right, so that's how you think about these things logically, and I give you that gift. And RK, this recording is going to be posted over on my YouTube channel. So we're a half hour in, about 40 minutes into the recording, or a half hour into the recording. So if you want to go back and listen to this again and again, you have it there. Just to kind of give you, because none of this is going to change in your design. This is always things that are going to be important to you, for you to remember. But it's proceeding with caution. And what's interesting is that anywhere we see red in someone's human design body graph is where we're looking at an aspect of themselves that they're not consciously aware of. So you're not aware automatically of your gate of caution. You're aware of how everybody else feels, how you feel, and how it affects other people. You want to be organized, but then sometimes you want to change things last minute. That Libra Mercury, right? Like the certified yappers, or feeling like you have to overshare. And so the more that you start to practice a little bit more of that, like healthy reserve processing time, I have a lot of thoughts up here, but not all of them have to always be shared with people. You're growing into understanding that, like, communicating with caution, right? And I don't mean for that to sound like, oh, you know, you can't speak or speak your mind in the moment, but the more you allow to figure out how to process your emotional wave and how much time you need to make a decision before you say yes or no to a person, that's going to be important. Now, of course, there's going to be certain things like in the moment, like, you know, you're standing there on a sidewalk with a friend of yours and they're like, do you want to go get McDonald's, or do you want to go to this vegan restaurant, and you haven't had a McDonald's hamburger in 10 years, but you're like, you know what, like, fuck being vegan, I actually want a Big Mac, right? Like that, you can't be like, you know what, stand right here, I'm gonna go home and I'll text you back in 2 days, right? So it's figuring out that discernment of like, okay, certain things we know relatively to be true about ourselves, and that's where your values come into play. Practice more of the gate of caution. Yes, stay patient with your emotions before acting. Yes, that's a really good indicator of processing your emotional wave and getting comfortable being a solar plexus authority, aka an emotional authority in human design. That's baseline, right? The second part of what you said, what you want to focus on in your life, and I don't think this, let me see if somebody booked right after you. No one booked right after you, so I'll have a little bit of time to read I want to read to you from the Book of Destinies for your incarnation cross, because that's going to answer more of the second half of your question. Being a 4/6, right, what to focus on in your life, that emotional process will get you clear on what RK values versus what I value in relation to how I affect other people only, right? Like, I get a lot of messages a day. I have now pivoted to a point in my life where I have to be okay with knowing that sometimes I have to leave people on red, or sometimes people are just on scene, because I cannot prioritize or have mental bandwidth to answer every single question. And then also teaching people how to treat me. Like, if you have a question that you want to ask me for free, you can ask me in the comments so that everyone can get my answer, but we're not gatekeeping and me reading for you for free in my DMs. Like, this can be helpful, a symbiotic relationship for all. I'll answer you for free, but again, it's a symbiotic relationship in the live, or it's in my comments, or I'll make a piece of content because I also have to film. I might as well answer your question, but it has to be something that's more mutually beneficial, because that's a value of mine, right? And how I protect and reserve my energy, because I only have so many waking hours in a day too, and how my time is divided. You allowing yourself to practice that with your emotional authority will allow you to start to process what does that look like. And then, right, getting you a little bit more in tune with your 4/6ness. In the Jenna Zoe world of human design, she explains this as the regal authority figure profile, which I do enjoy, because you have the opportunist line with the role model line. You are not yet in your role model era. You're right now a 4/3. So until your Saturn return, you're figuring out, how do you want to teach? How do you want to rule? How do you want to guide people? What do you want to have within your control? Your 20s, it's not to say like, oh fuck, like I have to wait to figure out like how the fuck I'm gonna like lead people. It's like, no, you get to have fun with it now. Like you get to try out all the different hats. I have like good chills. Hi Chrissy. Yes, the link is in my bio for TikTok live readings. It'll say TikTok live reading signups or something, words to that effect. So thank you. No, wait, you'd be next in line, so we can start at 8:20 or a little bit before that. You'll see if you click on the links, you just fill out all the questions and it takes care of all that work for us. I'm very organized in that way. So if you click there, you can walk yourself through where you put your birth time. I'll bring up the chart for you. I do that work for you. So you don't have to be like, how do I send the chart in the Cash App? It's just all in one system. So I like my chef's kiss type A organization, my Virgo qualities that I share with RK. But all that to say, right, RK, it's like, how do you create that organization throughout your 20s? Hello, Chris, how you like to be organized and take care of things, right? Because your Cancer moon, right, like that bleeding heart for people, like you're such a good nourisher, but are you nourishing yourself first? You're not gonna finish everything that you start. So the sooner you make amends with that, you see things through to the societally acceptable ending of things for you. But it's not going to be greater societal happy ending. Like, oh my God, like, I'm so glad she quit only after a year because she got what she needed out of it. Your boss at your corporate job that wants people to be there, for 10 years isn't going to love that, but it doesn't really matter, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. So this is where your 20s, you get to have fun. Something I'm going to read for you from the Book of Destinies here is about your incarnation cross and your life purpose. Okay. So this is where the top 4 aspects, X marks the spot, in your human design body graph. It's an intersection of 4 gate placements. Gate 47 tells me that you're a Virgo sun, because gate 47 is always going to be a Virgo gate placement. Sits in the Ajna. So you sharing your mental thought processes, like college professor energy, sitting on the ground talking about things that are cerebral, talking about topics, not other people, unless you're a sociology professor, is what's going to be more interesting to you. Strategy, organization, data. Leo Tolstoy also has the same incarnation cross, philosopher, Claudette Colbert, and Colin Firth. So a couple other people. So I want you to think about the types of things that you find most exciting, gut instinct-wise for you, nobody else, not what other people think is interesting, but what you like to talk about that helps you pour out from your overflow and make life more exciting for you. And then I want you to process and think about this again through what I'm about to read to you. And remember, last disclaimer, this will be on YouTube, so I don't want you to feel like you have to rush to scribble everything down. Just kind of pick up on some keywords that you may have been conversing with the universe to send you, because this is where a lot of that magic happens. So your life theme is to rule. We could just end there and basically answer your question. So validating that leadership for you. People naturally look to you to be the one who has the knowledge and resources to take charge. Much of your wisdom comes from your broad view of what has worked in the past and from the knowledge that enduring solutions take time, perseverance, and dedication. Even when you find solutions, it does not guarantee that everyone will be immediately approving or supportive, and this can cause you to hesitate when taking a stand on what you sense to be right, letting go of that emotional authority. I'll say this because I see you would be happier if I said this, therefore I'm not happy, I'm catering to the masses, I've lost my leadership because now I'm just a passive person who's easily swayed by the moods of other people, rather than remaining up here and saying, I'm on this pedestal and at this podium now because I've earned it, because I'm a good leader. I'm not succumbing to other people. Hello, happy Venus Day. Promoting leadership comes easily to you and is readily accepted by those whom you wish to impress. However, your efforts will be enhanced when you develop grace and charm. That's at gate 22. It grounds you to learn how to be, I don't know if you're familiar, if you've read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but there's a character arc, I'll say, for somebody who goes from being this like huntress and like having to being purely in survival mode and then gets put in a little bit more of a position of power and influence. And she has to learn how to maintain that, right? To have an opinion, but like a little bit more of like knowing that you, when you talk to so many people, when you do guide and lead people, your fuse can get shorter if you are not constantly reminding to put your own oxygen mask first, right? I said that a lot in regards to my Gate 27 deep dive that I did on YouTube this week for Anna. I filmed that. I have it to my editor to add in the little musical stuff. But that's important to remember. When I can learn how to communicate with people instead of talking at them, talking with them, and figuring out how we can we both are, two sides of the same coin. We want the same target. That's what that means. As a ruler, you definitely prefer 100% of people to be on board, because anything less than the totality will bother you in some way. Being courteous and accepting this challenge is essential. Attempting to impose yourself against the will of your people will be tolerated for a little while, strong-arming them, but sooner or later will lead to being disgraced rather than appreciated as the one in whom everyone places their trust. It's like a coach that like is hard on their guys, like, or people, I should say. I'm thinking guys because we were just at a hockey game, but hard on their team without allowing that ability for them to kind of say like, oh, let's take a pause for a second and then just enjoy the fruits of our labor and how hard we've worked. It's like that only gets you so far. The position of the ruler can be lonely at times, especially because different parties have different points of view and preferences, and you are the one everyone looks to for decisiveness. When you make your declarations, be clear and make them count. You constantly try to make sense out of the world and everything that happens, especially what happens to you. You look to the past for references that relate to the present, sometimes asserting yourself purely from other people's present. Your mind can wrestle with the simple issues, looking for satisfying ways to resolve them. Curiously, only when you take your mind off immediately pressing problems do realizations find you. I'm trying to work this problem. I'm working on this with my client. Let me go and take a walking lunch and then come back to it. And you're like, oh my God, all of a sudden I had this revelation. That's Gate 47. Hi, Danielle. Recognize that relaxation and indulging in a variety of alternative activities will assist you in making wise decisions. This helps you to appreciate how expansive and even generous your rulership can be. Paying attention to your energy type and authority will draw you to the people and situations that enliven your court and bring you the greatest fulfillment. Right, so it's not a matter, you're meant to guide, you're meant to rule, you're meant to be in control of your own domain. That is not ever going to be something that leaves you. If you want to pretend, if you want to stay small, if you want to be like, oh, I just want to be normal, I'll be happy just sitting in the cubicle and like kind of hanging out. Kristin, I see your booking, thank you. Like, yeah, that could happen, but you're going to keep interfering the same problem. Thanks, Chrissy, I saw that. Yes, I'll pivot in a second. So for that being said, right, it's figuring out, okay, well, when I think about what's the place that I like to rule, or I have an idea of how I want to guide people, maybe it's a volleyball coach, right? It could be so many different things or ways that you rule or have control over a community, right? Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be, rulership doesn't just have to be like kings and queens in a court and like ruling a sports team. Like it means that your rulership will take on the tone of whatever you like to lead. So if you want to be like, you want to be in, say, like more traditional gender roles, say, and you marry a provider husband and you want to have kids and be responsible for ruling that household, right? It's like your kids are going to be so like emotionally aware and like raised so well and like have like a dedicated parent, right? That's giving them the ability to like learn in a safe space, right? And to process a lot with their parents, right? Or whoever the primary parent is. It's a great place to be. So taking that mindset and thinking like, okay, how can I raise like really good members of this family team here in this family unit and make good citizens of the world? So yeah. Oh no, you're sweet, Chrissy. Thank you. Aw, thank you so much. I just wanted to, I'm a communicator when it comes to the sketch. So that was not, I didn't feel rushed, but thank you. I just want to let you know I saw you. But yeah, so it just, I encourage you again to like, the recording's on YouTube to drive that point home for the nth time. Chrissy, I'm recording this. It'll go onto YouTube tonight into tomorrow. And that you can just say like, okay, ruling a household, I know I want to run a household. I want to be a domestic engineer, right? That's why my mom's a stay-at-home mom, so she always called herself a domestic engineer. How does that reflect to what my reading said, right? I know what my kids want, I know what the people in my household want. Maybe I also rule an alternative style of household, right? Maybe my kids' friends live with me, or maybe I'm a foster parent. I know what they think. I know what they think that they need. I know that they want to eat all of their Easter candy at 8:00 at night, right? But I know that if I say yes to them now because they give into what they want, I'm teaching them that they can get everything that they ask for in life whenever they want it, even if it's bad for them, right? So it's like, it's a little example, but it's another way that you can kind of pivot to look at that. So thank you for letting me read for you. And I will pivot over to beautiful Chrissy here, who is sweet and painting. She is our second 4-1 that is in this group tonight. Trick, I don't know if you're still in the audience here, but only 1% of the population has 4-1 profiles. So you are in the minority in that way, Chrissy. So as a Trick will feel too. So you're like, why am I different? Yeah, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm doing a deep dive, and I did 5 videos about the energy type so far, Chrissy, on YouTube. So yeah, D, I'm so glad. So I encourage you to, again, follow me over there, because you can save those videos and walk through the gate series that I'm doing too. That'll help you a lot. I just did gate 1, and you have gate 1, and then 27 and 44 are also coming down the pipeline. You have 27. So I'll tell you that. So to look at your questions, so Chrissy's first question is, how can I create safety and stability in alignment with my human design? And I love that. Because safety and stability makes a lot of sense as somebody who has a 4-1 profile, because you, Trick, myself, anyone who has a 1 will understand this. That's the what's called the foundation line. Your profile in human design, we read it right to left. So for some context, Chrissy, kind of giving you a little bit of a crash course of human design, your first profile line comes here from these two lines, 4 in your case. You're a 4-1. Oh, hold on. There you go. 1. Okay, so you feel that 1 is on your internal, right? Your internal aspects. The 4, more obvious things about your personality. Anything or any number that's known as a gate on your right-hand side connects to your natal chart in tropical astrology. So if you use CoStar, if you use astro.com, if you use astroseek.com, time passages, the knee-jerk, schedule chart that it gives you is going to show you, not show you that overlap, but that's how I know, like, okay, gate 61, Capricorn Sun, gate 22, Pisces Moon, Chrissy's gate 38, Capricorn Mercury. I can read both at the same time. Not every human design reader has that, but I prioritize looking at that for you guys. So when we're talking about stability for you, right? The first place that you always want to go back to is knowing everything you can about your energy type, strategy, and authority, especially because you're new to human design. And this is good refresher for everybody. If you are ever overwhelmed by all of like these details, and there's a lot of colors and there's shapes, and what does this all mean? Going back to everything you can remember or learn about your energy type, strategy, and authority, it's like a domino effect where everything else falls into place. You don't have to stress yourself out about what is, this aspect, unless you feel like you have bandwidth for that. Thank you, Kiki. Hi. So using your discernment for that, what your nervous system can feel regulated for. The most important thing, and it's hard to do, but it will change your life by no stretch of the imagination. I mean that because I practiced human design for 4 years before I charge anyone for it, to be like, I have to make sure this shit works, like before I'm putting my neck out. And it's that you can't overrule your gut instinct with your logical mind. And that's really hard to do when you have a channel or when 2 gates connect and say, hi, hello, we're going to work together to create this pocket of energy that always flows through Chrissy's mind, right? You have a very specific process or a way that you view the world, Chrissy. Yeah. A way that you view the world that's specific to Chrissy. No one's going to change your mind. You may entertain other people's ideas. You have an undefined throat center. You may not share it, but you're going to paint a picture about it, about how you don't agree fundamentally with somebody's value, but you won't tell them. You'll just make a whole entire series based off of that conversation. Yeah, it makes sense. That Capricorn, Aquarian, and Tauran energy that you have in your chart in human design, right? It's not always reflected in your tropical birth chart, I'll say, right? So it makes sense. You will get into details when you feel comfortable, right? You share or communicate in detail, gate 62, Cancer gate placement, with the people that you feel comfortable with, right? So when you are talking and sharing with people that you feel comfortable with, that's when all the details come out, but it's your knee-jerk reaction isn't necessarily to over-explain. It can be, but that's when we get taps in the vocal cords, the voice gets sore, adrenal fatigue, we see a lot of that. If we're oversharing or trying to make people understand us who are committed to misunderstanding us. So that's really important. That's a way automatically you can create stability because it's giving you a baseline to say, I know that I think this way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's if you look at your throat center, your throat chakra, there's no buffer there. There's no natural shield of armor that's protecting it. Your mind, on the other hand, you not getting up and digging your heels in and being like, I know that you want, if we're talking about kids, like for our K's example, I know you want juice right now, but mommy's going to the bathroom, so you're going to have to wait, a minute and a half. I don't know if you have children, but it'd be funny if you do because it applies, right? You can see that. So knowing energetically, not overruling your gut instinct with your, oh, that's awesome, Heather. Congratulations. With your logical mind is really important, right? So we find that balance there for you. You also, like myself, and I always say this because it was something that I learned through experience of reading people. Thank you, Heather. This is my 9th year of doing this work now. So I've been reading people for 9 years. Gate 5 for myself, anyone that has this. We need a structure and a schedule. We don't like when other people get in the way of the mental schedule we had planned and we're like, oh my God, don't you see that this is the clear way that this should be organized? Why are you throwing a wrench in this plan? Why are you not putting your shoes on, right? Oh, Danielle, yay, thank you. Why are you not putting your shoes on at this time? I say that it's important for you to have like 3 to 5 things that Chrissy, a day that you want to do. Start small. I would say even start with 2 or 3. And then sometimes even on the list, put things that you really, yeah. Oh, well, gate 5 is where your sensory issues come in. So you know how you can't step on food on the floor without having to rinse off your feet? Or like why I wear socks and Uggs around my house all the time? Because if I step on cat food or if I step on dust, I'm going to scream, right? Like I don't like that, right? So that's where we can see like some of those things coming into play. I, in my non-medical professional opinion, think autistic people are just the way that most people should be operating, right? And there's a way that we have experienced a lot of conditioning. We're like, why is it weird? Like, no, of course, like I don't want to step in my cat's hairball on the floor. Like that's gross. When it starts to become something that's like we obsess or we're like, oh my God, like I'm jumpy because I'm always afraid of a hairball. That can be something different, right? People pacing, it's called the spectrum for a reason. But I would think about that. So that too, gate 5, it's okay. Who cares if you always need to wear a sweater everywhere? If that's what makes Chrissy feel happy and stable, that's what's going to be important. To get to some other parts of your questions, what's my most aligned way to make decisions and build trust with yourself? I pretty much answered that with your sacral authority. Something else that I'll gift you with is to ask yourself and have teach other people to ask you black or white, yes or no, A or B questions. You can deal with the open-ended and the gray, but you actually can get into the nitty-gritty of that. There you go. When you have yes or no's, like, do I want pizza or Chinese food? Actually, I don't feel like eating out at all. I don't want to order out tonight. I actually just realized that in saying that, I actually have pizza bagels in my freezer, right? Like that's where you can find that balance. So that's good. If anyone here has a defined a sacral authority or a generator or a manifesting generator, thank you, Kristin. That's just good advice for everybody. You're going to hear people that like to argue because everyone, there's always people in every community that just like to pretend that they know everything and they get really annoying. But they're the people that are like, well, you shouldn't ask yourself black and white questions. And you're like, okay, well, no one else like is aware of how they feel at any given time. They also don't know what they're doing. So if I can at least start with myself, then I can gain my self-confidence, even getting back to just practicing this and then teach other people to do the same with me as well, right? There's a lot of people that will harp on the whole, like, not asking yourself questions. And I'm like, okay, but when I'm sitting and I'm like, do I want to wear my white sweater or my blue sweater? I'm not going to go interrupt my fiance in the middle of his meeting to say, babe, should I wear blue or red? Or whatever the colors are. Like I can decide through my gut instinct or flipping a coin, right? It's another way to get into the sense of your sacral. And then where are you most susceptible to conditioning? Having people talk over you, codependency, enmeshment, prioritizing other people's emotions before your own, getting sick of it and then yelling, and people are like, oh my God, I didn't even know I crossed this boundary because you didn't communicate the boundary. And you're like, but you should just know this because that's just a normal way that people act. And they're like, no, I don't. And then you're like, oh my God, like you can't empty the dishwasher right. So we get passive aggressive and we just start emptying the dishwasher. If you can't do it right, I'm just going to do it myself, right? Those are some funny ways like in normal life, right, that we can compare and connect this information. Two things I will point out to you as I pull up Danielle's chart. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm a little psychic and I'm just good at my job. So I've been doing charts for 9 years now. You would hope that it would feel a little psychic because I'm aware of the interplay very fast and furious because it's my jam. But I feel that, right? And I love studying human behavior, right? But yes, it's like that. If you don't feel like I've astral projected and I'm remote viewing your room, did I really do a good job? Am I really a good reader? Right? I should feel like that a little bit. What was I gonna say in relation to? Oh, you have the channel of struggle. Do not do what I know that you always do and say, of course I fucking do. Of course I have the channel of struggle. Of course I'm gonna have the channel of struggle. Like that would be my life. Of course it has to be hard for me, right? And it's saying, okay, I know, instead pivoting mentally, I know that life can be hard. I know that life has challenges. The only thing that's consistent in life is change. Haha, for a gate 5 person that can hate change unless we change it ourselves, right? So you could say, okay, I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps here and say, again, I'm not going to hate the player, I'm going to hate the game, but I'm going to know the rules so I can break them. So if I know that I have to operate this way, right? Psychology, right? If I know that I'm going to operate this way, Danielle, I'll bring up your chart as I'm finishing up here. I know that gate 28, I'm going to play life like a game. I know the rules so I can break them. I may not like the rules. I may not like this game, but for whatever reason, we were all collectively here, born on this planet in this time, in this way. So it's a really big time that I think, if I have anything to do with it, with the people that I read for in my corner of the world, it's helping. Yeah. Oh, so I know you're here now. Yeah, my life's a shit show. Yes. It's like finding that balance of saying, okay, you know what? I know that life can be challenging, but I know that when I relax, right? And I think about, okay, I'm going to take it one challenge at a time. The challenge could be getting up to get a shower, right? The challenge could be figuring out what shoes to wear. The challenge could be, how am I going to pay rent this month? The challenges or the steps to the Monopoly board of the game of life are always going to be there. But how can I just practice on tackling sacral, one problem, one issue at a time? All right. So I can make some more. Oh, let's see if hold on, I have to do my little puzzle and then I'll start. It'll be a perfect time for me to pivot to Danielle here. Hi, Cherry, thank you. It's very Lana Del Rey with the bow. Cherry baby, I love that. But thank you, Chrissy, for letting me reach you. And I'm so happy you're painting. I used to work, if you look at my website, I used to work in the arts and music industry in New York for a majority of my 20s before I pivoted over into human design. And I used to use that when I was working in that industry. So I have overlap and I have a few artists that I work with still. But it's a fun synchronicity. So thank you. Thank you for letting me read for you. And for Danielle, I'm so excited. My fellow New Jerseyan and 94 baby. We're like 2.5 months apart. But I'm excited because I didn't realize and I didn't remember that you were a projector because you have so much energy and it comparatively, right? Thank you. And remember, again, it's on YouTube. We're about an hour into the recording, so you'll see it. I'm going to get better with looking back and putting the timestamps and doing like Chrissy D, Danielle, and V, sorry. I'm like, where's the break in your name, right? So you can listen to this again. So it's not going into the ether and you have no way to experience it. So for you, beautiful Danielle, so I always struggle with waiting for the invitation as a projector. I understand. When I was brought up to go after everything and everything, also really fucking challenging when we grow up in the tri-state area. And it's like, everything happens in a New York minute. Let's grind. Let's hustle. Hi, Leticia. My city folks will understand. And does being a psychic medium make sense? 1,000%. And I think it's so incredibly obvious that you have a gift. Like you just feel so, you're one of the only people that I met that's a psychic from New Jersey that isn't like trying to be, and I think also generationally speaking, a little bit of the older crowd is like just trying to emulate and mimic Teresa Caputo, Long Island medium. right? But it's just very clear that like you are just like, there's not ego involved. So I just want to reflect that back to you as somebody who admires what you do, appreciates what you do, and can just see that. So if anyone's interested in psychic mediumship, I invite you on Danielle's behalf to go follow her, because it's very evident, and just, she's really good at her craft, and it doesn't take more than, I always say from my arts and management, I know talent when I see it, and it doesn't take me a long time to just know like who's got it. And you definitely do. So I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that to blow smoke up anybody's ass. Because why? why put my own neck out, my reputation like that, especially for my projectors. So I just have a special place in my heart for you projectors, and definitely when someone's talented. Hi, Kim. So a couple things, right? What's really interesting, and I think it's really cool, because one of the things that I think about when I see the work that you're doing is that you do like read for families, or like there was one instance in particular, a piece of content I'm remembering, where it was like a mom and two daughters, it looked like, and they were outside. I think they were outside in their backyard, and it was something had happened with like I think the dad had passed, and he was like flicking a light switch, or something had happened with the lights, and she burst into tears. And when I saw gate 37 as your Saturn gate placement in human design, this is the gate of family and friendship. So you reading for a lot of families, you guiding a lot of families, that's really good data and intel for your Saturn. You're very disciplined about the family structure. And I believe you have a child, if I'm not mistaken, you're a mom, right? Or a couple kids. So throughout your Saturn return, the theme of this was growing into being a role model of a family system. Oh, okay, yes, so sweet. So probably learning how to shift in your identity as mom, and what that looks like as a psychic medium. I mean, any projector, like you guys are so open, you're known as the seers, you're very in tune. What I love also is when I look at the channels and like the type of psychic medium you are, whenever I see somebody has the 4323 channel, I used to call this the Elon Musk energy. So, and that has gotten, that has a flavor to it now, I'll say, right? It's basically like you think light years ahead. It's like you were on Starlink at the same time that he thought about it, for example, right? Like you just have a very specific way that you process. And it's why like people are kind of like, Danielle, do you understand like what I'm saying? And you're not supposed to mesh with them in that way. It does feel like you're like, how, like you're this channel. Hi Haley, the link is in my bio for it. It's TikTok live mini reading, sign up. Thank you. I'm reading for Danielle at the moment. I don't wonder if you maybe have the 4323 channel. Intuitively, it feels like it, but we'll see. But what I didn't want to forget to say is that look at the right. I don't see this often where people have, I actually can't think of any time that I've seen this within the last 2 years where people have a channel that's not only in their incarnation cross, but it's a channel that makes up their north and south node as well. So you have the 4323, 4323, Scorpio north node, Taurus south node, we're 94 babies, but it's gate of insight, right? You're going towards a direction of what are the insights that I share with people. It's very cerebral. So if you think about what does a psychic medium do? They channel from their mind and their brain. That's literally in your incarnation cross of like, I'm channeling, I'm flowing. Exactly what you're doing as a projector. Yes. So if you're like, I don't understand, like, am I made for this? Like questioning it, the universe is like, your ancestors are probably like laughing at you like right now. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm made for this. It's just like, we just got out of a Venus retrograde. So if it's felt a little slow, everyone's just like, what do I value? I know when I was saying this to Deanna in our projector Patreon crew for our training last week or the week before, I can't even remember the time right now. But it was like, oh shit, it lost my brain. I had like 4 thoughts that came together at the same time. Thinking ahead, being a projector. I wanted to say it was also in relation to the 1/8 channel. I'll have to go watch my recording back and then think of what I was going to say. Also that Gemini moon is like the data and the facts that you remember, like you're going to have somebody come back to you and read for so many people. And like, you're going to be able to drop in right away and be like, oh, I remember you. And I remember that you wore the red shoes and we talked about the socks that I couldn't see. It's like, you have this, like that meme of the lady with the red thread, right? And she's like, looks confused. And it's like, or no, I'm combining 2 memes. The guy with the red thread through It's Always Sunny and that lady with the math meme. It's like your brain just operates that way. People often won't get you, and they're not really supposed to, which is what makes you this anomaly as like the talent that like people need to be perceived. Oh, before I forget to say it, the content or like how you're posting testimonials and you're posting snippets of you reading for other people, A fucking plus as a projector for marketing. Like you being the talent and not having to come up with this whole other like marketing campaign, but just using what already exists and capitalizing on what you've done already and using that as kind of like a highlight reel to like show like here, this is just the proof. Like I don't have to tell you that I'm about it. I just am about it because like it literally happened and this person started crying because I validated whatever happened in their family. That's good for you. Yeah, exactly. So to separate my brain because I do remember a lot. Yes. And I think, I know you write a lot too. So keep those notebooks. Maybe we can manifest a rifle paper, or Pendleton notebook, for about another hour, Leticia. Yeah, take your time. And I can wait if you, whatever time works for you, if you need time to sign up, I'm hanging out for the night. I don't have plans. These are my plans. But yeah, I didn't want to forget to say that, like, I did a lot of content on this for my projector Patreon, and I just made a bonus video for them in there, of like you remembering that you're the talent, right? Yeah, of course. As projectors, like, you want to, whoever your favorite singer is, right? So I'm going to use Sabrina Carpenter, for example. She is focused, or Ariana Grande, because she is a projector. Taylor Swift is a projector. Taylor Swift is focusing on the song lyrics, being in the best shape that she can be, being a performer, and putting her music on Spotify, right? Of course, she has people that does that, but work with me here, right? That's the example. She puts her stuff on Spotify. She's not in her story on Instagram saying, buy my tickets, here are my show dates, buy tickets, like, subscribe, share, help me, see me, love me, adore me, pay me, right? That's what it would give off if she was like, you know, on street corners trying to sell her tickets, because she's more focused on refining her craft, sharing the example, the reviews, right? Like what other people have already recognized her for. And then that's how you get more, right? As a projector, it's not that hustle and that grind. The hustle and the grind for you as a projector, this is actually a really good explanation I just realized in my head. The hustle and the grind is you being consistent with sharing testimonials, with you being consistent and just showing up as the performer that's like on psychic tour, right? That's going to the Count Basie and booking a show there. There are so many psychic fairs, Lunar Fair in New Jersey, right? Like going out, and if you feel like being in that environment, when somebody has already bought a ticket to an event, right? And I did, if you connect with Prep Coffee in Old Bridge, I don't know how far that is from you, but I did a human design event at their Red Bank location, which isn't there anymore, but tell them that I sent you. And like, just be like, Brenna did a human design event in Red Bank. Like, she told me to reach out if you guys are doing events on Old Bridge. That's like, I've created the invitation. You have a warm lead, like shooting them an email, like name dropping me. I told you to do that is like a warmer way where, because they do events and they promote it, right? We'll confirm that, but that's a good idea, right? To kind of be like, okay, what's the warm lead? Who's the connecting factor? How do I share with people, you know, that I'm a psychic? I like to, you know, my goal is to do events. It's not directly asking people unless they've given you the invitation, or it's a friend or family member. We know each other a little bit now. I've seen your work. I know you're talented, right? It can be like pop-up psychic events. What are stores in the area? I would also look into Ridgewood, New Jersey. That area, they have a couple stores that do like pop-up events. Look at the places that also do like permanent jewelry pop-ups. Like there are places that need an event calendar to be filled, and they always have like a casting call to say like, hey, we need talent, you know, basically help me do my job so I don't have to go find people. It helps me when I can just, we don't need to scout people. It's the talent manager's job. Here's how we do this, right? So that's important as well. Let me just go back. I want to make sure I may be yapping over somebody. Okay, I'm not yapping over somebody. I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing that. But thinking of it that way, right? So yeah, I mean, this is my specialty. So that's what I'm here for, right? To help you with this. Like as projectors, like our world was not made for you to think strategically. It was, you were conditioned with New York, New Jersey rhetoric of like, just go and ask them, just go and walk in and hand them your resume. Like, just go and do this and, you know, jump the line and like buy, like, subscribe, share, comment, you know, like all of that, where it's like, you're fucking cool, right? You're the cool girl in the class as projectors. All my non-sacrals are fucking cool, right? We're all fucking cool in our own ways. But you as the non-sacrals projectors in general, right? You're fucking cool. You're the talent, right? So you get to sit and be like, no, it is a luxury to be read by me and for me to be able to have this gift to tap into your family, right? So I don't have to beg for your attention. I am inherently worthy of it because I know that I keep my side of the street clean. I make sure that I do things ethically. Yes, Morgan, it's just funny. Your ears are ringing. I was just mentioning that earlier. I used her as an example. I said, she's not worried about, you know, grinding and hustling and standing on the street corner. She puts her music on Spotify. She doesn't sit down on the stage and go, so, hey guys, I'm Taylor Swift. What do you want me to sing? That whole show is choreographed. She's going to sing, the songs that she wants to sing that she's prepared for, whether you like it or not, right? So that's where that comes in. It's also interesting. I don't want to forget to mention this too. I just want to make sure I don't talk over. Okay. The 1/8 channel. I have this one as well. So does Deanna that's here off the top of my head that I remember. So this is the channel of inspiration, right? This is where people will try to ride on your coattails. I can't tell you how many people have come through my live the last 3 years and are like, here's what I know. Here's what I share. And I'm like, everyone has their point in time, right? If you want to read people, go on live. Do the work like I did, right? You don't even need 1,000 subscribers now. There are followers on here. The world is your oyster, right? No piggybacking, right? We don't do that because you're all deserving of your own autonomy in that way. That's a big part of what I teach, right? But the 1/8 channel is where that will happen because we inspire a lot of people and I'm happy for that, but the flowers are owed. Now, because of my placements, I have like the mom friend override as a man gen with a Mars and Mercury on my ascendant of like, I'll argue, you know what I mean? Like we'll talk about this right here, right now, right? And then I'm like, no, I'm going to protect my projector friends, right? That like, that's not in their disposition. Like, that's why I'm like artist management for Brenna as a man gen meets projectors and my talented people, like chef's kiss match made in heaven, because I have that like built-in like bully protector for you guys in that way. Yes, your single defined channel. Exactly. And that's where it's like, again, it can be discouraging, but knowing that that's your disposition when you operate from a place of love and light, and that can be true for different channels, right? But when you operate and keep your side of the street clean and choose to do things ethically, there are other people who are so desperate to be heard and to have that sparkle that comes to you so naturally as a projector that it's not to let yourself get discouraged. And a big thing that I'll say to that, and something that I learned the hard way with all my Pisces, like wanting to be a martyr for other people, is that if you sit in shit, you start to smell. Right? The nice New Jersey way to say that. If you sit in shit, you start to smell. If there's somebody that smells off, that smells bad, that needs to get checked, right? Like, I'm gonna take my coattails back, right? That's been my line this month. I'm gonna take those back. There's a clothing rack right over there. I don't know if you know, but in Ridgewood, there's actually this really great boutique where you can get your own fucking coat. Okay? It's over there. That's where I got it from. I'll give you don't need to buy my link and my like to know it. There's the store, bitch. It's that energy, right? Of like, because we get like that, or I get like that because I'm like, if you actually fucking listen to what we say, the signs of differentiation is like, if you listen to your chart, right? If you listen to your chart, thank you. If you listen to your chart, right? Like it's what makes you different. Why the fuck are you looking at mine and try to do the same thing? Even if we have the same placements, right? But as projectors, again, you guys are cool. You have your jacket. The wardrobe was made for you, right? It's a matter of like, what ones you want to wear today, and we can admire how cool you are. And you have that added layer of that 1/8 channel that adds to that sparkle, right? So it's interesting because a lot of what's been coming up today in general, and especially this live, is that undefined, or not undefined, but that design side channel, the 1/8 channel, where it's like, oh, I don't know this about myself. So I know that I'm different, right? Especially with your Genius Freak channel. I know that I'm different. I know that I'm unique. I know people like when I say things in this way, but sometimes they don't like me and they get mad at me or they get weird with me and I don't know why. But it's like, oh, it's either jealousy and they want what I have and they don't understand that like maybe they pretended to be a psychic on the Asbury Park boardwalk for a day, but like I'm actually gifted in this way. So finding that balance, yeah. Yeah, because as a projector, the recognition is already hard for you to get. So when somebody takes that and is like, that's mine now. You're like, no, it's not. Like, I tried and worked for this long to have that happen, right? Like, no, bitch, get your own people to recognize you. Like, it's that kind of, can you tell that Mars is in Leo now? It's that kind of vibe, right? Aries energy, Aries Mercury. Yeah, so Neptune Aries, I should say. I was going to say something else to riff off of that. But yeah, I think it's like, it's bound to happen, especially like in an unregulated, like social media is not regulated in that way. It's the Wild West of the internet, like it always has been. You know, think of chat roulette, right? Wild West of the internet growing up as a fellow 94 baby. And how like, okay, you know what? The second that I see somebody copying me, I just saw it on Instagram today. I had a client of mine that was actually in my Patreon, very briefly, as like a free member, and has gone around and has started to connect with everybody that has been in my orbit also in this, live. And I was like, we know who I am, right? Like, do you want to go live together? We could argue in front of everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have I taught you nothing? Did you not learn? Right? Like, you can create those things too, but there's a way and a method if you actually are going to be good at this craft, right? To like, no, right? So again, it's like, I don't hate the player, I hate the game, right? But when there's a time and point where it's like, also it's worth it to say, hey player, like we're not against each other. This is the same game that we're playing. But like, I'm more worried about what I'm doing and making sure that it works, because at the end of the day, a 1-8 channel, you're already 2 steps ahead. And then you add the 1-8 with your 23-43 channel, you're 10 steps ahead. So the more you worry about like the recognition or other people trying to steal that recognition from you, you can exhaust yourself a little bit more than the average person. Right? So it's finding that balance of like, okay, I noticed that, I see the snake, right? Garden of Eden, the Easter weekend, right? All the biblical metaphors. It's like, okay, I see the snake, that Eve has eaten the apple, right? We get it. Okay, now I have reconfigured that person in my life, right? Like, you can go over there. It's like, why? So for your sake, right? Again, as a projector, how do you strategize what it looks like to focus on your lane, right? You are aware of it. You aware that are people that do shady things and stupid shit. And that has been proven in history up until this point. That's probably never going to go away, because there's people who, also, if we believe in reincarnation, right, parts of their soul are probably not going to evolve in this lifetime, right? There's just parts of them that are maybe going to come back for another round or two, right? So I'm not going to be worried about whether or not I have to help them figure out by having a conversation with them, right? Time and a place, right? Use your discernment for when it's worth it to nip certain things in the bud. But I'm more worried about making sure that I don't have to come back here in this body in this way in this lifetime. So what are my lessons? That's very true of the 1-8 channel too. I cannot focus on making sure that I maintain my gift by obsessing over, which, trust me, I fight my Scorpio every day, right? To not obsess over what you know, how somebody has wronged me, or like, should I say it, right? It's like that. My cycle time has gotten shorter. It's like the addict, right? My Aries moons get it too, of like that little like eye twitch of like, should I go back to that? You know, should I start drinking again? No, leave it. Like, it's that I don't struggle with that with alcohol, right? Although my Irish and Pisces combination would argue and fight with that if I had nurtured that part of me. But it's like, okay, that is not the things that I want to obsess over. Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's stubborn, like, this is mine, this is yours, right? So I say this and have harped on it so much because I think that what's happening now is like the bull. Yes, it's the pulling back the arrow before the expansion. Thank you so much, G. I appreciate you saying that. That means so much to me. Wait, I'm screenshotting that. Thank you. It's been the lull of Venus retrograde before it opens up for you again, because you're like, okay, Saturn return in gate 37. Who are my real ones that have fucked with me up until this point? Maybe there's a lot less than I thought, or I had to reconfigure people in my life in some way, shape, or form. But really, who's going with me moving forward? And when I think of myself and my business as Danielle, right? And this is good for all of you guys that are projectors, D, Anna, right? My other projectors that are here, Josh. Like, what does that look like, right? What does my day look like? How do I want to operate? How do I want to project out my areas of inspiration. Because eventually there are things that as a 1/8 person, right? A big part of the reason that I'm a teacher is because I know that I'm going to put things down that I don't want to pick up again, that I don't want to finish them, and other people are going to finish them. Right? But the way that we do this ethically is making sure that we enter into conversations, commit ourselves to things that we know if we were okay to leave it before we saw it through to the societally acceptable ending of it, or where we came up with some preconceived notion based on somebody else's set of values for like what the final project ending would be. If we left halfway through that, did we get what we needed out of it? Right? Are we okay with that? Right? What does that look like? And it can sound automatically like, oh, like, well, why would I stop something halfway through? Like, why would I quit something? Right? And it's because there's so many different things that we want to do. And I was saying this, again, my projectors, like, even if you're a projector, you don't have to finish everything that you start, right? Like there are some things that like, you may be like, oh, I said yes to that. Oops. Okay. Pivot. And then it gets better over time. Kristin, I see your booking. Thank you. So thinking of those things too, like what are the things that you can finally cut out where you can kind of focus like on Danielle's business, full speed ahead, right? And like what makes Danielle interesting, what makes Danielle excited, and maybe refining, like creating some disclaimers for like what your, how do I word it? What your like structure is, or what your reading cycle is like, or what your I can't think of the word, like what your outline is for the way that you are as a psychic, right? What's your MO, what's your mission statement, if you will. The questions that you ask people, do you ask them a lot of questions first? Do you not ask them questions at all, right? Like there's some sort of like structure or flow that your Gemini moon is also really gonna like. You may do this already, but it's a really good time to kind of refine it so people know what they're buying into. So I'll leave you with that and some helpful business tips scattered in for everybody else. So it's kind of became Danielle to a communal reading, especially for my projectors in the same time. But I'm going to bring up Kristin's chart as we're wrapping here. But I'm excited. Yeah, absolutely. You're so welcome. And again, shameless disclaimer again. You'll be annoyed with me for saying this, but whatever, for the sake of organization. The recording for this will be on YouTube tonight to tomorrow morning, so that you can go back to, we're about an hour and a half into the recording now, so you could watch it. So yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm happy to support you guys. My projector Patreon is literally like my projector support group. And Kristin, I have your birthday and time, but I just don't have your location of birth. So if you would be so kind, and happy season, happy early birthday to Danielle and to Kristin as well. Maybe our two Tauran people in a row here. Excuse me, our two May babies. Yeah, I know. I was saying that today. It's so crazy. Phoenix, yeah, absolutely. No problem. Thank you. Okay. It was so funny. So my my last name isn't super common. It's Keeley. My website is just brennakeeley.com, as you may have seen. And so when I went to Sedona back in 2021, you fly into Phoenix and then go up to Sedona, as I'm sure you know. And there was a billboard it was Chris Keeley, which is my dad's name, like on the billboard for some realtor. And I was like, that's so random. Like I've never met another one in the wild. So I always think of that when I think of Phoenix. But yeah, literally, like, how's it April? January was 89 years long, and literally, like, it's crazy. Easter is in 2 days. I kept thinking today was Saturday. I'm glad I'm not rushing time too much. Feels like it's being done anyway. Okay, so I'll start a couple minutes early since we're here. Let me read. Pivoting. Let me see. Okay, I've been pivoting my career and juggling too many gigs. It's burning me out, and two income sources are dwindling anyways. It's time to fully invest in my own business honor my human design. I need flexibility and freedom and time to respond. I always feel bogged down. You're an emotional, with responsibilities while everyone else is dropping the ball. Yep, that's the curse of being someone who cares. Yes, and we have gate 32, channel struggle, and gate 50 right on the nose there. Would prefer to create, offer products than work one-on-one with clients or in person as previously. Feeling I need location change for happiness too. Look into astrocartography. I had a couple people. I'll be making a few videos, like quick videos about that this week. And would love a healthy relationship while we're at it, right? Hey, Albert, how are you? Yeah, okay, so just solving all the world's problems, right? One 10-minute reading at a time. So a couple things. Another beautiful Pisces moon too. When it comes to pivoting as a generator, good night. See you later, Sarah. Happy Easter. Enjoy. You're going to hit a plateau, right? Which you're probably like, yeah, I'm on it right now, bitch. Like, respectfully, right? Like you're on the plateau. Like, you're like, okay, I know I'm feeling the shift. Something needs to change. Like what's happening? Where am I going? What am I doing? So when you're saying pivoting in career, right? And I also see that you're 42, I automatically go to incarnation cross because 38 to 42 is when you have this transition or this transit of really growing into the legs of your incarnation cross. So with you, I'm actually going to start by reading from the Book of Destinies. And I want you to think about what you said. And you're 3-5, not working one-on-one with people and coming out and having like casting a wider net or like doing digital products or something like that makes a lot of sense for you. Also, like using content creation like as a source for digital products also makes a lot of sense. Right angle cross of contagion. Thinking about those things that you have in your mind. Janet Jackson, Pierce Brosnan, Mike Oldfield, and Megan Fox all have the same life theme as you. And it's the right angle cross of contagion too, I'll also say. So paying attention to that. If you do any Googling after the fact or look at any of my old videos, it's hashtag right angle cross of contagion number 2. So you have a life theme of transference with the means to convey concepts of potential interest to almost everyone. Pausing there. Hi, Abigail. When Kristin finds something interesting and you speak from that place and share from just pure joy, not letting it doesn't have to be rational. It doesn't matter if you just learned about this thing and you're growing in it, right? People love to live vicariously through 3-5s, like YouTube bloggers, content, day in your life. What are you listening to? What's that one quote? What's that one thing Brenna said in her human design reading, right? That was like, oh my God, makes so much sense to me. Like that's your share those things, right? I met this astrologer. She changed my life. That's important for you. People love that. That creates magnetism for you. The depth of your commitment to making a contribution that benefits humanity will either be tested or enhanced by your desires. Being aware of what you desire opens you up to experiences that expand your senses. Oh, I like this. Oh, this is what I'm learning. Okay, there's something here. And it brings you into intimate contact with life as you transform the lives of others, regardless of whether you are aware of your effect. Being clear about what really moves you enhances your sense of security and allows what you convey into the world to flow through you unimpeded. Again, yes, exactly. Thank you, Red. Exactly. And keeping that going, like don't let that be something that like you sleep on about yourself. That's really important. You're the quintessential torchbearer who loves to inspire others to pay attention to assets and ideals that resonate with you, whether those be of a personal, family, or business nature. You delight in passing the flame of your own excitement to everyone around you, and at times you expand trust, prosperity, co-creation, and all manner of potentially rewarding experiences to the entire world. Retaining your inner balance while you're doing this can be a challenge at times, especially if you find yourself around people who are not ready to commit themselves to you and your offerings as wholeheartedly as you sense they could. And that kind of gives me a little bit more insight into what you were saying about like prefer to create and offer products versus one-on-one, where it was like too much of a hump for you to be like, how do I sell this one person on my one mentorship? It would be like if you get mentorship, you wouldn't start with trying to pitch a mentorship for 3-5 people with your placements as a generator. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say, this is what I'm doing, right? And then if somebody asks you, do you do mentorship? you respond as a generator and you're like, oh, this person wants mentorship from me, and say, well, I haven't in a while, but if it feels good to your gut instinct, to your sacral, you give yourself 24 hours to make a contract, wading through that emotional wave, and you've processed it, and you're like, maybe I don't offer this on a larger scale, but I do want to work with this person. That's a really great way to capitalize, right? Literally, energetically, on that interest. It's a symbiotic relationship. Somebody asked you for it. You came up with a price that makes sense for you. You still have made a good connection there, right? But your main thing isn't, shouting mentorship all the time, but it became something vicariously because of the way you promoted. Maybe you do manifestation candles that turn into anointing oil that you put on your chakras or something like that, right? Like that, it just is an example of some kind of product. Your Jupiter is in gate 28, gate of the game player, which is a saving grace for you to know, like, okay, what you said, I'm juggling too many balls in the air. And these two things are dwindling. You're sensing, okay, the game board is changing a little bit. I've worked my way through these levels. I had all the gear that I collected. I have my swords and my things and my, my food, my provisions. But now I sense that like the weather's going to change, right? So I need to figure out how I get new tools, and having that predictive outlook. Also a little bit of where like your intuitive kind of side comes in with that Pisces moon, especially like what's happening. Also your gate 51, Aries Venus is important to pay attention to that too. How do I know what are the Mouska tools that I need to get me through, to get me to this next step? Focusing on knowing, this is where it's going to be really important for you to remember this, to not let your impatience throw a wrench in your plans for what you're doing, because now you're going through this extraction of changing gears. It takes you a second to pivot, right? This is where you're going to see a lot of the memes for pivoting, kind of having that little shift, right? Of like, okay, I'm pivoting here. I'm working in this way. But it's going to take you a minute to get the ball rolling when it comes to like the product or the new offering that you want to create. And a while for an impatience for a while as a generator can be a month or 2 weeks, right? It just depends on how much time you have to dedicate, and being realistic with yourself, not stressing your nervous system out and being like, I quit all my jobs, I have to figure out how to get this money tomorrow. Your Capricorn placements in that channel of struggle, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of struggle. Also part of that past life stuff that you're dealing with is a Capricorn South node of like, you're going towards your Cancer North node of like living in a more feminine, nourishing, broader groups of people, group dynamics, like things like that through a product or a service, right? Whatever that looks like for you. But you don't want to forget that right now at this juncture in time, for the time that we're incarnated on earth, that like we need money to pay rent, like the physical, not even physical dollars, but like, this currency in this way from this bank account is what's needed. So don't there's a lot of spiritual sensationalization, and that's kind of like a spiritual bypassing. So we want to pay attention to that and not letting yourself get hung up. Listen, I love that dangling carrot when I was 22 and I was like, fuck yeah, I can quit everything and, just go ahead and start my spiritual practice. And I bought, somebody's mentorship program. And then I was like, wait, I just funded your dreams, but like you didn't actually tell me anything. And now I'm just trying to make back the money that I paid you, right? We're leaving that era of that. So I'm not saying that I just don't feel like you don't have enough tools at your disposal to start. You don't need, I think with what you've done and the intuitive aspects of what I'm looking at, like if there's like, I'm going to learn QuickBooks for my job, and that's obviously like something you need to learn, get as much as you can, from YouTube. And then if you need like an extra QuickBooks boost, there you go. Oh, I love that. Okay. That's a whole helpful curate. And your gate 8, yeah, that makes so much sense. You're torn, your torn aspects with Venus there. Yeah. And I think it's like, okay, image consultant, like you could do a whole series on Kibby body type, right? I've been looking for so much of that and I haven't found enough of somebody that I like that does it, right? Exactly. There you go. There you go. And so the consistency as the generator is like, okay, maybe you make a polyvore type PDF of like, you like something that you have where it's like 20. Oh, I was like, what? I heard a car screech and I realized it was in the Bad Bunny song and I thought it was outside on the street. I was like, wait, what is happening? I forgot I had this album on. But it's like a $25 girl's guide to a trip in New York City, and then within it you have like links that link back to clothes where if people click on the links in the PDF, right? Like that's kind of like a funnel there where it's like, okay, they've bought the PDF. Now if they've bought the clothes in the PDF that I spent time looking for them, maybe from it's like a Depop or something like that, there's a quick turnover time. Maybe there's a link or a way that I get commission for that, or the like to know it, things like that. Yeah, okay, I love that. Yeah, so the affirmation of that for you, and something that you already know to be true, right? Very helpful. And I think like there's an opportunity, right, of like style shifting, right? When you are like, if you niche down even more so to like women in their 40s, right, that are going through kind of a shift, then you can say, okay, where are they existing? Maybe it's some first time moms. My sister-in-law is 41. She just became a mom and was like going through this identity shift, and was like, clothes are one of the first places, because you're like, what's just clean and available? What am I okay wearing for 2 days? But maybe it's a mom that really cares about fashion. So you can help her, maybe she has twins, and you can help, market to that type of person. So just some other things to kind of help you pay attention to. The one thing I also didn't want to forget to talk about, I just want to make sure that no one is right behind you, is the aspect of what you said about, I always feel bogged down with the responsibility while everyone else is dropping the ball. I'm not like a Mel Robbins stan, but I will say like the let them part of that is really true. Like, it's like, if they're going to drop the ball, I'm going to let them drop that ball, because I'm not going to hand anyone or play ball with anybody that will affect me so drastically if they drop it, right? Even if it was somebody like, say I have a friend that is a single mom, right? And so she is in school right now, and she's figuring out like working her way through, because like her child's father, it's all the bells and whistles of, I'm going to pay, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to send you that money, whatever. And it never happened. So instead of, hoping for the day that it comes, right? It's like, how am I able to, I don't like that these are the circumstances, but how can I be a little bit more in control of them? I'm just going to get my charger because I don't want my phone to die. Hold on. Aw, thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's work situations. Yeah. I accidentally hit the, I was taking a screenshot of Deanna's comment. Thank you, Deanna. And I exited out. But especially at work, like, if you know that you're not going to be there forever, and this is what I say to people all the time, that like when you're pivoting to doing something else, and while you're, especially in this economy, I am not the spiritual girly that's telling you to quit your day job. You have to mentally, in this economy again, until you see that it's working, right? Mentally pivot and say, okay, well, what I was giving to 100% of this job, the 50% that I need to go home with to make my PDFs, to make the content, has to come from somewhere. And if that means that somebody else drops the ball, but okay, great. Then maybe this person hates me because, I'm no longer going to go into the Google Doc and answer everybody's questions for this project. I'll do my part. I'll make sure the project's done. And I'll say, hey, this part of the project's not done because this person didn't do what they were supposed to do. Right? Or whatever the case is, right? Whatever is going to make your life easiest, but also figuring out like how to not make everyone else's life super easy for them because it stresses you out. That's important. Like, hold on. We're going to have to share the charger today. The energy needs to come from somewhere. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it to, if you can do as much as you can on your own in that aspect, it's we always need help, and no person truly works alone when it comes to group projects or endeavors or anything like that. But it's like, if there's areas where you're not hemorrhaging your energy trying to pick up the slack where like you don't get the credit anyway, right? Or there's other areas where it's like there's no appreciation for you going above and beyond, then don't go above and beyond, right? Like, I'm not going to keep going back to people who expect me to go above and beyond because I'm capable. But it's like, you have to, it's what Anna has said about me too, right? Like, you have to also be willing to do the work. Because I can give everybody all the best ideas in the world, but unless there's somebody that actually is willing to implement what I've given them, it's useless, right? And there's, again, a lot of people that are lazy to do the work, but you're not lazy to do the work. It's just a matter of like, okay, I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure that I keep this 9-to-5 job to fund what I want to be doing and having that transition, right? Thank you, Anna. So we need that, again, that energy has to come from somewhere. Yeah, and I think location change, mentally changing the location, using your mental and literal out of office of like, I'm not available for the incompetence with this person here, will help automatically. And again, looking into astrocartography, maybe putting up some pictures of places that are on your sun line, your Venus line, that can be helpful too. Your moon line, right? If you feel like you need a little bit more like dreamy, excitement or like fantasy, like looking at places that you just intuitively are like, you know what, I just want to be surrounded by more items that remind me of like the beach, right? That can be something that you can just start to kind of incorporate, your little, floor, if you want Florida water at your desk, right? To kind of just refresh. That could also be something that's important, all those little refreshes and things that make you feel good. But yeah, I'm excited for you. And it's I love like my first job that I always wanted to have is actually, after archaeologist was fashion designer, which is an interesting pipeline, solving problems at the core of all of that. But yeah, so I love that. Oh yeah, there you go. So the beach, yeah, maybe Florida. Yes. Oh my God, Anna, I can imagine in corporate life. Yeah, the Florida water. This is like the OG, well, not actual OG Florida water, but the most common brand. Danielle, I don't know if you're still here, but this is bottled or distributed in Westwood, New Jersey, which is funny. Not Florida. Yeah, I would be too. Little facial mist, Florida water, facial mist, right? It's like we need that that revitalization. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, Tatiana. Okay, yay. Oh, yay. Okay. Yeah, you're so welcome, Kristin. Listen, don't get mad at yourself at the days that you're tired. Learn to rest, not to stop, right? That's the best words I can give to a manifesting generator. Learn to rest, not to quit. Because it's so true. And it's so much easier said than done. You're like, we know that mentally, but in those moments where you're just like, fuck this, like it's worth it to remind yourself of that. Okay. And Tatiana, I have your birth location and your time, but not your birthday. So let me know what your birthday is, and then I can put your full info here. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Jana. I appreciate you so much. Oh yeah, Kristin, feel better and listen. That you have an undefined throat. It makes sense. Yeah. Oh yeah. I can open more if it closed you out, Crystal, so that you can still get a reading. No need to apologize. That happens. Yeah, if only I would have known about it. Florida water before I started bartending. Oh my God, you're like, see why? Can I make drinks with Florida water? Like, is that possible? The tinctures. Yeah, Crystal, give me 1 second. I'll put Tatiana's reading in, and then we'll start at her time slot is 9:20 Eastern Standard Time. It's 9:17, so we'll start in 3 minutes. Let me just make sure. Okay, I got the birthday correctly. So I'll pull up Tatiana's chart here, and then I'll work a little organizational magic on this end so I can open up some more slots for you guys. What is today? What time is today? Okay. Okay, I just opened up 6 more spots, so that gives you some times to choose from. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, cleanse some people. Yeah, no, I feel like with you have that like magnetism to you, Michaela, that like people are like, you're like, why are all the weird ones crawling out of it's like like Michael Jackson's like Thriller music video. Why are they all coming out at midnight? Hi, Katie, welcome. So Tatiana, you said, want to know what my most favorable monstery paths are. And I don't know what you mean by monstery. Do you mean, was that mastery? Or like what your most favorable, because that's not an exact like human design. Oh, monetary. Thank you. That's helpful. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'll start now. We'll start a minute early since we're here, right? So it makes sense that you're asking that question because in human design, you have what's called the channel of surrender, which doesn't sound like it would have anything to do with money, but it's this channel here, which is what makes you really good at marketing the things that you believe in. So what you're learning how to do is figure out like, okay, I really believe in this and I really like this thing, but how do I monetize this, right? Like where's the overlap? So it's not a matter of like, do accounting only or fashion. It's like, what is the most exciting for you? And then we create a structure using your human design. So the question that I'll pose to you, especially because you have the gate of details, also can be things with like animal related or like working with like maybe a portion of your proceeds from clothing sales. If you like clothes went to animal rescues or something, that's a part of your design. But if you could give me like your top 3 things that like even, I don't want you to think logically, right? This is the time for us to like play and workshop and have fun and make it logical and make it helpful. Hi G. What would be like your top 3 industries or like ideas or jobs that have been of interest to you, or you see other people doing them and you're maybe a little bit jealous, or like, why is it so easy for them? But like, I feel like it's hard for me. And we're going to talk about this because you're a projector. So I can see where there can be a little bit of like a insert foot and mouth by accident here being a projector. So we'll talk about that. Yes. And so I love that you know that about yourself. What would be like what are some of the, like complex systems? Are you talking about spiritually complex systems? Are you talking about accounting? Or is it like you're trying to decide between like, do I want to go like a math and science route? Do I want to go to a spiritual route? Because that's gonna change how I can help you. And like what that flow kind of looks like. Because as a projector, it's like baseline. And I don't know if you want to give me a number 1 through 10 on your understanding of human design, that can also help me explain things in a way that is more sustainable for you as well. Hi, Transformation Diva. Welcome. Nice to see you. Okay. So here's something that I would do as a projector wanting to market yourself in this way. So what is going to happen, and I was saying this as a projector, you guys have to remember that you're the talent. So it's not buy my PDF, buy my workbook, buy this, I'm so good at this, I'm buy this. It's taking one sentence from your first paragraph of that workbook that surrounds an idea and making a piece of content elaborating on that for Instagram, for YouTube, for TikTok, right? Wherever you want to promote it, and elaborate on that concept. And then you could put, if you wanted to, like link in bio, right? Maybe, right? Perfect. There you go. And this is also Tatiana and Diva as well. It's this live is recorded and will go on my YouTube so that you can watch your readings back again and again when you get a reading with me and these concepts. So we're about 2 hours into this recording. It'll be, so paying attention to that. But for you, Tatiana, it would be a matter of saying like, okay, I know other people say like, are constantly saying like, subscribe and share. For it's more subtle. Yeah. Yeah, because you have a completely open G center. So it's like you get to play with like identity because you don't have, you learn different ways to connect with your G center and identity in real time. So, and that's amazing. Yeah, so you get a blend of both. So you would be like a great kind of like tagline for you would be like connecting with, like almost like something like connecting the spiritual with the sacred, and then marketing. And I was saying this to Deanna, who's here too, our other Deanna, my projector Deanna, who delightful D, about being a person that can connect and speak to people who are like fundamentalist Christians, right? Or somebody who are like really deep in Catholicism that may not automatically understand or be open even quantum physics. If it's not taught, it's not in the Bible directly, right? They can shut it down. And if you are really good at explaining those concepts, you have kind of a helpful connection. Now, what is important for you to remember in being successful monetarily in this way is to meet people where they're at, right? Meet people where they're at without sounding condescending or assuming that they don't understand what you're talking about. And also not talking at a PhD level when they're at like, I don't even know how to write my letters yet, right? So that's where discernment for your audience will come in. Are you going to already be in the physics, quantum, tactics realm? Are you on those Reddit threads? Are you in that, realm? Or are you looking to teach people that have no idea that it's possible to talk about these concepts in relation to biblical terms, right? And that's a different market. So identifying like your niche, like that's what it would be for you. Like when you get a little bit more refined on like, okay, who are the people that I'm wanting to connect with? The smaller your niche is as a projector, the more impact you can have, right? And then again, I say this again, I haven't said it in this live, but the quality becomes the quantity over time. You don't want to go in guns blazing. And listen, the timeline of that can also be relative, right? Like being in that mindset, if you're focused on the quality becoming the quantity, it could still happen in a month, right? Or all of a sudden you have a video you thought really well about and you recorded it and it was like really good, and that could hit. You only need one video to go viral to make, millions of followers, right? Or hundreds of thousands. Yes, there you go. Of followers or thousands, right? It's all relative, but it's a matter of like, even what you shared with me in the comments for how the general public consumes spiritual data on this space, I will say from one person in this game to another, is already a little too high level for what you're trying to share. So I think write it down once, right? Write down your outline or your content planner, how you're going to share it. And then I want you to sleep on it and then look at it again and say, okay, but how can then I simplify this again? And who am I really speaking to, right? The best marketing tip I learned in general was to write as if you were explaining it to like a 4th grade classroom, where you walked in and you were like, this is what my rich auntie does for work. And like you had to explain what you do to work to kids who were 11, and knowing that like also I think we our literacy is at like a 6th grade level, if that, in America, right? So like knowing that's the core. It's not it's concerning, but it's also like, okay, well, there's a teaching point here where I can speak to people to raise that vibration, if you will, raise that knowledge gap. So it's not that you're incapable of making money in that way, right? But yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, even that where I'm like, okay, when you're talking about biblical, but also physics, quantum tactics, I'm like, break it down even more, right? Like going into the self-awareness aspect, right? Break it down even more, right? And not breaking it down in terms of like, I always say paint the picture. A lot of why my people are here, right, is because I'm really good at giving actual examples that make sense to people. So do that. And don't feel like that's giving too much away. It's like people have to be like, how does this make sense in my day-to-day life? So I can work with that, or I understand what I'm buying from you. And again, as a projector going into the details, you just want to make sense that you want to just keep promoting it from a place of like how you incorporate your work in real time. Yeah, because the only point for what you said was monetary, so that's where I was going with that. I mean, yeah, it's totally aligned, right? Like if we're talking about your 26 Sagittarius with your Scorpio 44, it's like where you can kind of stalk stalk your people in a healthy way. I think that you're very disciplined when it comes to abundance mindset, right? So it's not just like throwing things into the void. With your gate 5, right? Creating that structure, how you want to live your day. It's helpful in that way. I feel like it's your Leo moon too is like, you know, you got the praise already and you know what you're doing. So it's just a matter of like simplifying and implementation, and just being like, okay, how are we getting in this direction? Also, from your Mercury standpoint, your gate 39 Cancer Mercury, and also having your Mars in Cancer, not direct conjunction, but they're both there. One more to a stellium, right? You want to be a little bit like of the varietal of like nourishing spirituality, or like your like thinking about like my favorite women that I ever knew that were like at my church, kind of having that if you're also in a biblical aspect, or even if it's not like biblical, like I am of the church and I talk in that way, but just validating it with like 40 days, 40 nights was listed in the Bible, and a Venus retrograde is 40 days, 40 nights, right? Like there's overlap there, but coming at it from like a here's how this is nourishing for your show. Yeah, and it's like, so this is where you get to decide what you want your heart to be. Life is about solving problems. What are problems that you want to solve, right? This is another tip I'll give you. Having an aspect of your human element in there, but filming content where maybe you film like this, right? Here. And in front of you is your workbook or a piece of paper where you write out your concepts. You're on camera. You're getting used to the sound of your voice on camera, but you're not hyper focusing on what you look like in order. If your hands, you wash your hands, right? If you've got a manicure, if you like to paint your nails and it's just your hands, you're flexing that muscle of what is sustainable for your nervous system. Because trying to put these concepts on camera, right? Refine it. I say it all the time, right? Like even days where I'm like, I don't want to do my lashes. I don't want to do my makeup, right? I didn't do my makeup today until like right before I hopped on, essentially. And that's a way for you to be able to say, like, here's how I can still do this thing and be consistent, and then eventually grow where I'm like, oh, I have people here that I'm comfortable with. Now I'm comfortable being on camera. So it allows you to kind of have that, the sustainable practice of consistency, because if you're going to sell workbooks and products online, it's a fool's journey to not use social media. It's literally every platform is free to use to market your business. So like to sleep on that, it would be like, okay, I know I'm uncomfortable on camera, but I got to do something with it, right? So like, how do we show up in that way? And also when that time comes, right? If and when you feel comfortable, if you even need to, right? You may have a faceless account and it's always just your hands. Writing an outline, making sure you don't ramble too much. Less is more. For a projector that knows as much as you do, with your channel of judgment, your gate 28, your 6217. So it's like breaking it down into like even for yourself, like a part 1, part 2, practicing timing yourself with like 1-minute videos. Like even if you have to run through it once or twice, you're just having that, you're working out the muscle, right? We're not going to the gym lifting. We're not doing 200-pound back squats, right? We're flexing that muscle now. So building that first and that confidence and just practicing is what's going to be able to help you more, especially with the, the Cancer, that shyness of Cancer. So on TV, yeah, just brainstorm. I just realized, there you go. Aw, thank you so much. I'm honored to be the blessing. So I appreciate that, as you are to me too. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, and your Leo moon, like you want the recognition, we have Mars on your moon where it's taking action because emotionally you can't stand to not take action anymore, Tatiana. It's like, it's time. Your Jupiter in Aries is like, I want what's mine. I want what's mine when I want it. And so you're like, okay, I'm sleeping on myself. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of sleeping on myself. What does this look like for me? And I think just allowing yourself to, your 5-1 is where that fear of being perceived comes from. Whenever somebody has a 5 in their profile, I say that like your last lifetime, it was like you were probably a witch in the Salem witch trials that got like, stoned or burned at the stake. It's like, that's what the heretic is. So yeah, there you go, Steve. Yeah. Yes. Oh, how she has so many centers defined. It's just circuitry. So the way that we know that somebody's a projector, a manifestor, a reflector is because their sacral is undefined. But if you happen to have, like, all of the gate placements are different zodiac coordinates. So it's basically like if somebody just happens to have, you know, a Cancer and an Aries placement and the degrees that correlate with gate 16 and gate 62, it creates a channel. A channel creates definition. So it's just a matter, it's kind of like, why does, it's like the astrological equivalent of that question is being like, why does somebody have 5 planets in Scorpio, right? So it's, you can have a lot of definition and have more energy as a projector because of that, but it doesn't mean like, yeah, a lot of times where people are like, why don't I have that gate? I'm like, it's like asking, why can't I have all 12 zodiac signs as my sun sign? So she has mental aspects, but she's an emotional, Tatiana's an emotional projector, because she has this channel here that creates the mental definition, emotional definition, but these are mental aspects. If she didn't have as much definition down here, right, no motor centers here, that would create, usually mental projectors only have like these 3. There's a lot more white down there. So you'll see that distinction in kind of like the visual puzzle pieces. But yeah, Tatiana, I feel like it's great for you to, it's a great time for you to figure out like, okay, how do I you know how to simplify your message? How do you meet yourself where you're at? You monetizing your intellectual property is like A+ on that. Like, it's exactly what we want you to be doing, and selling workbooks. I also would suggest YouTube for how much you know and breaking down systems, and doing longer forum horizontal format for YouTube, because I think for your placement specifically and what it sounds like, you can tease it on TikTok, and there's definitely will be people here that will love that and gravitate towards it, but I think you have a huge market with YouTube, and it's also a little bit safer right now to start off and, you know, cross-pollinate if you like. So I will leave you with that, but thank you for letting me read for you, and I will bring up Crystal's chart to get us settled in here for the next reading. And I will actually be on YouTube live tomorrow, so we'll be doing some stuff over there if you guys are interested. And if you want to follow along and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do, if you're interested in supporting me on that platform as well. And I'm doing a deep dive on the gates in human design right now. It's my next series in longer form content. And I'm going through all the profile lines. So if you have gate 27, what does gate 27 mean when it's gate 27.1 or 0.2, 0.3, etc. So that you guys can get a little bit more acquainted with like the exaltations and the detriments and the juxtapositions when it comes to those placements too. And where all the YouTube live readings go, the recordings. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I'll be on at 7 tomorrow. I may get on a little bit earlier, but I'll still be on at 7. So 7, the latest I'll start. But I'll definitely be on p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll say. Not 7 a.m. I'm not a morning person, and the time zone helps. Okay, so here is Crystal's chart. Yes, Eastern Standard Time Zone. Yeah, you read my mind. Psychic Friends Network, you're welcome. So it's interesting here. So when I put in 2200, right? So 10 p.m. for you, it brings up that you are a generator. So you're saying splenic projector. Is that because this is an approximate birth time? You did like a summation and you know that you feel more aligned to splenic projector? I just need to know more data because it pulls what we're looking at right now as a sacral generator's chart. Crystal. So that'll change. I think, yeah, 92. Yeah. I have a January 30th, 1992, 2200 flat, 10 p.m. flat, Orlando, Florida, and it's generator. Yeah. Do you only use, what chart generators have you used? Let me make sure. And I'm doing right military. Maybe I did military time wrong. for 10 p.m. I think that's 2200. Yeah, 2200. Because genetic matrix has been having some issues if you use genetic matrix. And I use the site that I use, I pay, like, this isn't like I made my own calculation. I pay into using the software that the International Human Design School. Okay. Yeah, so for the one that I use from the Human Design School, hi Noodles, welcome. I find is more accurate. Yeah, and Jovian Archive, that's my only concern is like maybe 10 p.m. Rarely are people born right at 10 p.m., right? Like that, it can happen, right? But that's why I'm like, if you maybe put in 10:30 somewhere else, like that can create some interesting things here. What I can do, and what will be accurate still, right? Even if it's not exactly right, is that your personality sun is gate 19. So that does at least give us your incarnation cross. And I can definitely give you a good reading in 10 minutes for that alone. So we want to go with that to start, right? To kind of help you. That I know won't change. Yeah. And I would check your, birth certificate. If the hospital that you were born in is still around, you can call them. There are people that do birth time rectification, but like that's a payment in and of itself. Like it's a little bit of an endeavor, expensive endeavor. But doing that. Let me read your question and then, yeah. Hi, love. Welcome. Your more general reading. Okay, yeah. Or I sing. Yeah, and you have a completely undefined, well, you have gate 33 there, but you have an undefined throat. So Lady Gaga has an undefined throat. She's a completely open throat. There are a lot of singers and musicians that are good songwriters specifically that have undefined throats. So that may be consistent if you're a splenic projector too. I work at 9 to 5. That's draining. Yeah, that tracks. What I want to do is work with artists, help guide them. Mm-hmm. Artists have come to me in the past for this, and I've been affirmed with this gift as well. I'd love to tie in human design, because it's been so life-changing for me. Currently rebuilding trust within myself and coming off a year-long relationship that was aligned successful career-wise, but I crashed out at the end of the year. I can relate to that in years past. I understand. Well, the first thing that I'll say, right? Just with looking at your human design body graph, right? And January 30th is your birthday, right? 1992. I'll confirm last call for that aspect, at least. Maybe it was a typo there. January 30th is what I have. Okay. All right. At least we got that, right? So that you're always going to be a gate 19 personality sun, no matter your energy type. That won't change. So what that automatically tells me as a gate 19 personality sun, it's actually my Aquarius, it's an Aquarius placement, as you know. My Aquarius rising is gate 19. The Neutrino app, also use that. That's a really great app. It's like $35 for the year, but you don't have to pay for it. Gate 19 is the gate of wanting, sensing other people's wants and needs. If you know that you love to help artists, I used to work in arts and music management, that can be a great tool for you to know. What's also super helpful is that there's a huge kind of like TikTok trend that you can kind of piggyback on, right? Or be a part of, I should say, more accurately, in people starting to do and work their way through the book, The Artist's Way, which you probably have seen. It's probably on your For You page, being a creative person, and being able to help refine people in that way, right? And even so, like splenic projector versus a generator, like it was funny because you were like, how is Tatiana so open or have so many defined centers as a projector? And someone would look at your chart and be like, or this chart, right? And say, how do they have so few defined centers as a generator, right? Yes. And so a great thing that you could do, right, is if you're comfortable with making content, or if that's a part of the way that you want to help artists, is to share with them, for people doing the Artist Way now, here's what I did for my first artist date, or here, when I got to week 3 and I hit a lull or a plateau, here's what I did to reignite myself again. Here are some tips and things that I did. Here's the artwork that I created working through this Artist Way. And if you're not a content creator in terms of video, maybe you try Substack, right? For projectors, generators that have so few defined centers, like this version of your chart in front of us, right? I'll say, people who it's like people learn through you through your action or like what you've embodied for them, right? You do have a lot of leadership qualities, sensing that artists want and need something, and being, you know, the Aquarian humanitarian who's one as a part of the group but doesn't want to mesh with them. You can help broaden their horizons to show them what's possible, right? And I think when we're looking at pain points for artists, right? And what I did, right, which is funny, the version of how I use this in my career in arts and music management was I wrote and looked at the human design body graphs, I should say, for all of my clients in the industry. And I wrote their series and exhibition statements through their voice. If they were having a hard time, and they would be like, oh my God, like that's so me, but how did you write that? Like, I didn't write that. Like, it seems like something that I would write, but it just sounds so much better. That was part of the way that I incorporated it. You could do like a fun collage night where like you pull up everyone's charts and then you give them a little bit of a description, you know, and you make collages or something. Like, there's so many different ways, like as a creative person, that you can create with human design that like you don't even have to like fully know more than the 5 energy types to like make really good content about it just from that perspective. And again, anyone's energetic bandwidth is going to be different. A lot of generators, pure generators like yourself, not manifesting generators, but OG generators, do have a lot in common with projectors. So even if like this is actually the more accurate version of your chart, like there is a reason that you resonate with projector like aspects, right? Yeah, it's so fun. I mean, I love it and I love sharing it. Currently rebuilding trust in myself coming up here. Yeah, I want to finish reading. Notice that when I've done crowdsourcing or competitions in the past, they haven't worked out for me. It's hard for artists to do crowdfunding unless you're in like a major city that already has a big arts community that you've been a part of consistently for at least like a couple months. So that I know from myself too. And having like a teammate for crowdfunding, we got crowdfunding for a gallery. Yeah, going, but I cannot understand it all. Yeah, I love that. It's so true. It worked better for myself during that time when I had a teammate to help with crowdfunding. So yeah, I'm curious if these are things not meant for projectors because we're asking, basically begging for votes or to be seen. Yes. And since learning my human design, I decided to not do those, but what are your thoughts? Yeah, I think that if you had somebody that created crowdfunding for you, it's a much better guideline, even for being a projector with an undefined throat or anybody with an undefined throat. I would say that like you creating your art, right, or having a way that you show up consistently instead of going right to crowdfunding is also something that's helpful. So the reason that my crowdfunding worked when we did Indiegogo, the 2 times that I did it, I was raising money for an album for an artist in Asbury Park. I was working with her out of the Dani Transparent Galaxy Gallery. Galaxy can be its fun interchangeable term. It worked because she was working there. Dani Clinch is also like a very famous photographer in the music industry. He created the See Here Now festival down in Asbury Park, which is like locally known. If you're from the East Coast or follow some of the bands that played, you may know. But it worked because she was already also consistently putting out music in other ways. So if you haven't consistently been putting out your artwork and then you're automatically asking for money, it's like, well, I haven't seen you consistently putting your artwork out, so why am I going to pay you to jumpstart it when it looks like you haven't done anything yet to be consistent with it? Like, I wouldn't go and give my money to a musician who I hadn't seen like at least trying for the last like month every day in some way, putting out, the consistency, putting out music, an EP, an album, sharing the process. Like, you have to build trust with your audience in order to know that your money for crowdfunding is going into a safe space. So that's also just like important to know as an undefined throat person in general. And then you may find that like, not to shadow artist yourself, but like maybe it does help for you to be more on the artist management side of things genuinely. And then your artistry is like more for you to promote it, you know? Okay, let's say I'm a generator. Can you say a little more about the crossover? Yeah, like how like projectors and generators are similar? Because waiting to respond or your response strategy, this is my strategy too as a man gen, is not completely dissimilar for waiting for the invitation as a as a projector, because you responding is like, I'm going along my day. I naturally am responding to things in my environment. I know I want a cup of coffee. I do that every morning. That's my routine. But I know that I like to create content. I know that on Thursdays, Fridays, and Wednesdays, I went out of order. Those are my days that I like to be on social media, and I like to be on lives, right? I'm on YouTube every Wednesday, and TikTok every Thursday, Friday for the most part, right? I had a different week this week, so hence me being on YouTube tomorrow. But I know that I'm doing those things naturally. And then I see who comes through, because I know that people are on here. There's 10 of you, 11, including myself here right now, right? And there's people here that buy readings. This is a known thing that people do on TikTok live, right? So I know that that's happening. I'm responding to the fact that I like to get on camera. I like to teach. I like to help people. I like to make sure that I'm talking to a community. I'm focusing on one of you at a time in your readings, right? But I'm also giving nuggets that just by watching somebody else's reading are still helpful to the collective that's here, the community that's here. I don't like to overuse the word collective, but it does apply, right? So it's that waiting to respond and waiting for the invitation is not stifling. This showed you as a 4-6. So it's even more of that, like, okay, that 4 line, your external is that opportunist. That's where I'm just going to turn on this little heater here. It was 70 degrees today, but in the mountains, it gets a little chillier at night. We see that like 30-degree difference for my desert people too. You know that feeling. But that 4 line, that opportunist line is like, I know that I am gonna focus on the people that I see, or like a couple artists at a time, versus trying to connect with all artists all the time. Maybe I just want to focus on 2D artists, right? Or painting and drawing, and then sculptors. If I get sculptors that are in the crew, great. But like, maybe I just start off by marketing to fewer people. That's helpful for a 4 line. Also, where a little bit more of that, like, you're selective about the energy and who is in your energy comes from and can exhaust you. My 2-4s, like Anna, who's here, any of my other 2-4s, your body is a little bit more, as if on cue. Good night. Good. I plus my 4 line. A little bit more prone to exhaustion, especially after a long work week like Anna has had. So sleep well. So that's where we'll see that too, right? So paying attention to that. The 6 line has you, would you say, Crystal, that you feel like it'd be an accurate statement that you feel like a 3-year-old adult, or that you haven't, like, your adulting has been delayed? And you were the Aquarian alone. I mean, just being, I don't know your rising sign from this chart, but the Saturn being the ruler of Aquarius, so one of the rulers. Yeah. So 6 line people being a 4-6, like some other ways that I can explain that is that after your Saturn return, or when your Saturn return finished, Saturn left. Yeah. Wise but can't adult. Yeah. That leads me more so to thinking like, okay, 6 line, until your Saturn return, that 6 line in your profile was a 3. So, let me just make sure. Hold on. I may be yapping over somebody. Oh, okay, Brooke, yes. I'm pivoting to Brooke and then DAngela. I'm about 2 minutes over. I'll bring up as I'm finishing with you, Crystal. Thank you, guys. But that 6 line has been a 3 up until your Saturn return. So you went from being the martyr to the role model, where you're like, okay, I see I want to work with artists. I see there's a little bit more consistency here. A role model leads by example. They do what they say and they say what they do, right? And so following that, like, the actions speak louder than words is also really big for 6 line placements, especially being a generator, like being absorbed with like how you can, again, lead by example, show up consistently in front of the people, whether in person, online. If you're in person, going to art fairs, showing your artwork online, or I should say at like local markets or galleries, or putting 1 to 2 pieces in local art shows. That's, offering to write and help people write your artist statement workshop. Those are all things that can be really helpful for somebody with a 6 line, but just regardless of either projector or generator, that's just a really good idea in general. So feel free to use that workshop example. at the same time. So thank you for letting me read for you. And again, these are recorded. They're going to be on YouTube. I'm going to download the recording and upload it tonight, so that you can watch your readings again and again. So if you do also have questions about what I said, just feel free to leave them in the YouTube comments so they don't get lost, because I do get a lot of notifications here and I don't see all my comments on TikTok, but I still have like that many comments on YouTube where I definitely will see them there. So yeah, thank you, Crystal. And as we pivot over to Brooke here, we'll end at 10:03, and then 10:03 is when I will start DAngela. So thank you. So you were wanting to know, hi, Danita, more about channels. So what's really cool about your chart, Brooke, is that you may know that you only have one channel. And a couple things that I love about this channel is that you have kind of like in your destiny, if you will, have this ability to grow out of and then Laura, I see you after that too, the socioeconomic class, or I should say the economic class that you were born into. So people with the 3254 channel are here to be about their bag. They're here to be concerned about money. Yay, okay, perfect, thank you. They're here to be concerned about money, and they're here to set boundaries on like what you're willing to accept and making sure that you are going to get paid, right? Gate 54 is a Capricorn gate placement meets gate 32, which is a Leo gate placement. Hello, user 673. And the way that you work through this, Brooke, for your placements is gate 32, because it sits in the spleen center, holds a fear of being your most successful self. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I know that I want to make a lot of money. I know that I want to do better than, my parents' generation or the people that raised me. But like that automatically kind of, if that created some sort of tension in your nervous system, there's like an ability for you to understand that you have to practice the same habits for financials or whatever it is that you want to do, that you want to be known for now, in order to cultivate a sustainable foundation to hold on to those things as you continue to grow. That's why so much of what I talk about is about sustainable like nervous system integration. So focusing on flexing that muscle of like, okay, I know that I can do this. Like I've got my back. I've got me at the end of the day. But what is the next thing that I can do that makes me feel better? So if you say, like, let's say, money, you want to make a lot of money, but you're not quite sure how you want to make money just yet, right? If you were to start with where you are, you want to think about how do you allocate your paycheck, right? Can you allocate, if you say want to do readings on Zoom with people, right? Like let's say you want to do human design readings. I'll use myself as an example, human design readings on Zoom. Can you set aside $17 a month to invest in Zoom so that you can stay on for, longer than 40 minutes? I forget what the exact parameters are of like a free Zoom account. I think, or you can go over 40 minutes with one person, but just using that as an example, right? And that would be a way to start allocating money to say, okay, I'm funding what I want to be doing and how I want to pivot in this way that makes it sustainable. It's only an extra $17, but that's a big move to say, oh, I'm doing this now. Like I mean business now, right? Like there's money and something that's being activated here for me to pivot and move forward in this direction for where I want to be going, right? So that's a big aspect of that. Gate 32 also, right, because I mentioned just a minute ago that it holds the fear of being your most successful self. Hi, Amy. Is getting a journal, right, or getting a notebook, a piece of paper, and doing a brain dump about what all your fears are. What are all the things that you are so nervous to do, nervous to accomplish, afraid of, why it won't work out, why it has worked out, and then you lost it, whose fault was it, like just don't judge yourself and have like a brain dump or like drain your brain out onto the paper. And then on the next sheet of paper, right, I want you to write 3 kind of problems that you had, or 3 reasons or things that didn't work in the past that you see that really pop out to you, and maybe you highlight them, right? And then on the next sheet of paper, write down, give yourself some room in between, write down what those, 2 things, that one thing, those 3 things are, right? Use your intuition there and say like, okay, these are the 3 things that I noticed to be true. And then what are 3 or 1 to 3 actions, right? Again, sustainable. So we can start with 1. What's 1 action that I can take to make sure that doesn't happen again, to move the needle of success forward in a different way, to make sure I the next time that I'm presented with this situation and the universe sends me this test, I know that I'm not getting myself back into like the messy circumstances that I was in. And I'm sure there's things that are probably percolating and coming to the forefront of your mind. Maybe they happened today, maybe they happened last week, right? Like there's something that I'm sure has come up or that will jump off the page for you. A problem written down as a problem half solved. I say that all the time. Super, super, super helpful for a splenic projector. A couple other things are also true about you only having that one channel being a splenic projector, right? So that connection there is that your body is exceptionally more prone to suffering the consequences of unaligned action. So our spleen center, right, and I have to use my disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, but use this information as you will. Your spleen center and every energy center, it's correlated to the chakra system in human design, is also correlated to different aspects of the body. So the spleen, which is all about our primal instincts and our fears, and primal instincts and fears, like when we think about that for a second, it's like when we were in the woods, right, and there were certain things that we did, our responsibilities were like food and shelter and like survival, right? So when we go back to like OG primal aspects of that, the spleen had to be ready to pivot at any given time. So that's also still true for you to this day. To this day. Reminds me of that audio. To this day. Where you have to say, okay, I have to pivot. It's actually what's going to make you connect with manifesting generators a lot as well. And especially finding a good man gen that you can connect with is very helpful because they are masters of the pivot. They don't even think twice about it. A splenic projector with only that channel is going to think about that pivot. Like you're going to kind of question, like, should I pivot and then stay there? Oh, there you go. Okay, yay. So you've created one that you needed and you married one that you needed too. So that's helpful. Asking them for help, indulging in the pivot, right? Children will definitely teach you how to pivot, right? That's really helpful. So your immune system, if you tend to get sick easier as a splenic projector, the common colds, when you've been saying yes to a lot of people, places, and things that you should have been saying no to, or did things because of the societal obligation versus like what actually felt good for Brooke in your body. So just being aware of that and knowing that like when you're saying yes to things or like yes to parties and whatever that you want to be saying no to, you're not pouring from an overflow, you're showing up in a deficit. So you're not able to connect with people or bring as much energy to the metaphorical, literal table as you think that you will, right? It's better for people to miss you in your absence than to feel like you're phoning in your presence as a splenic projector. And that's a really important thing to integrate for you. What's also interesting and is a saving grace is if you're using it correctly, right, is that you do have a very defined root center. You have all but 2 gates that are activated in that root center, and it's defined or colored in. That shield of armor is there because of this channel. When we have a channel, that's what creates definition. When we have hanging gates, there's some definition there, but it's what's known as an undefined channel. Or undefined center, excuse me. So that root center, you can feel the pressure where people say jump, but your reaction shouldn't be to say how high. And this is where you have to kind of practice that give and take as well, because if we look at and zoom out here on your body graph, there's a lot of openness here, right? There's a lot of openness here where there's not as much buffers for armor. Yeah, I'll read that. I'll close with that for you. There's a lot of undefined centers there where people can influence you. Yes, you got it right. Yep, left angle cross of demands. So paying attention to that. So I'll stop yapping about that for a second, just so I can close this out here in the last 2 minutes. It takes me 3 minutes to read a full page, so I'll do if I don't interrupt myself, it takes me 2. It's left angle cross of demands 4. Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Patti Smith, Ellie Goulding, and Ramana Maharshi, I don't know who that is, all have the same life purpose and theme. So your life theme is to demand that society improves itself, but you always have to exercise great patience before bringing correction to the world's established ways. Though you might focus many of your demands personally and within your relationships as a way to control your environment, your demands are more effectively offered impersonally and directed towards society's ways rather than your partners or yourself. It is important that you appreciate this aspect of your nature. Otherwise, you might succumb to a continuing level of stress that unwittingly broadcasts into the lives of others and makes it difficult to find relaxation. You can become pessimistic if your demands appear to have no immediate or lasting effect on the world. Remind yourself of the essential nature of stillness and joy, meditation and celebration, and you will always find your way through times when it looks like nothing is being achieved. Remember that life is a mystery to live while you expand your gifts and wisdom and not something that needs constant correction. If you lose touch with your sense of humor, patience, and compassion, you will be beset by one unsatisfactory situation, one unpleasant interaction, and one hopeless relationship after another. If you ever find yourself in this state, start afresh. Life always begins now. You have the necessary vigor to turn around any situation from something that is barely functioning to a working marvel. Your vital spark sets almost anything in motion, but be certain that you are ready to engage. With experience, it will become clear if you are going to commit your energy to a project that your own demands must be met. It is vital for you to be certain before making commitments, otherwise you will drain your resources and lose interest and enthusiasm, allowing everything to just go on without you. The beginning of anything often predetermines how it turns out for you. So consciously align with your own energy type and authority before committing to anyone or anything, and you'll know exactly who, when, and what to commit to. So I will leave you with that. Rapid fire again. This is recorded on YouTube, so it's a lot to digest with your incarnation cross right away. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't go too far into over our 3 minute lap here for DAngela and Leticia as well, but that way you can listen to it again and again. And thank you so much, Brooke, for letting me read for you. So I love a good splenic projector. You guys are awesome. Okay, and DAngela, I have your birthday, but I don't have your birth time and location. So just if you could kindly let me know what your birth time and location are in the chat, and then I can update that here so we can get your full beautiful body graph. I'll read it. Yeah, I've had this feeling while you're pulling that up. Yeah. Oh, Denver. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I was just in Denver for the first time, actually. Denver. Here we go. And then 420. So I've had this feeling that I'm supposed to bring value or guide women in some kind of way, or helping with their branding. I don't know. This is something that I think we'll be able to bring income. I'm not even sure how or what I'm supposed to be doing. I hope this makes sense. It definitely does. So, no problem. you're sweet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. And I feel that for you too. Like you're such a, bye Gabe, see you soon. Enjoy your time. Enjoy game night. I'm glad you have them. But definitely, I think that if you know, especially as a projector, that that's the desire that's put on your heart, and this is that's a biblical kind of phrase, especially being a Cancer moon, something that I said, and I'll gift this to you as well, having a Cancer moon, or for women with big 3 Cancer placements, your sun, moon, or rising, I say that it's kind of like welcome to the spiritual buffet. So even if you created digital offerings, but it was kind of like digital soul food, or spiritual soul food. I had given that idea to a woman who was in New Jersey and South Jersey, who's a Cancer, that I was like, use that for your events calendar. She's like, I'm using that. I was like, I love that. So I have chills on both my arms. So I'll give that to you as well. There's room for all of us here. And you have a couple Cancer, Gemini placements on both sides. It won't necessarily show up in your natal chart. All right. So yeah, it's so aligned with a beautiful Cancer moon. You're so soul nourishing to people. I'm going to read to you also from the Book of Destinies first, because if you think about, okay, I know that I want to be helping women, right, in general. I know that that is important to me. Let's look at this to kind of give us a little bit of a bigger framework. Right away, what I can say before we get into it is gate 6 being the gate of friction. Maybe you teach people healthy conflict resolution, communicating their boundaries, how to talk up, and gate of friction is also the sacredness of who enters our body from a sexual perspective as well, who enters and exits. Gate 6 is the gate of the pH. So it's being using our sacred vessel, or being aware. Oh, Dani, thank you. I see that as well. I'm 3 minutes behind. So Leticia and Dani paying attention to that too, just to let you know. I'm we're working our way through here. So to continue on with DAngela here, to read this to you, keeping this in mind. So your life theme is to become accomplished and wise in the handling of the more difficult aspects of life. You find your way into challenges and at the same time out of them by creating new options that turn breakdowns into advantages. Excuse me. Ultimately, you direct others to make positive and beneficial changes when they encounter some of the tougher experiences that life can offer. And think about like, what are maybe you help women with that have been through domestic violence. There's a show on HBO that has a lot to do with that right now in the Housewives pipeline, if you're familiar with reality TV. And maybe you like, there's an opportunity to start talking and like offering your services for free. Hi, Tara. But recognition in like women that have been through that, especially just like in, I don't know if you're still in the Denver area, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity for that there, and any major city, unfortunately, right? But that can be a way that you can really pour out and to inspire in that way. And your Virgo Mercury will love that too. You can be a friend to all, drawing to you disadvantaged people as well as more capable ones and smoothing the path for everyone. I really see like motivational speaking too. Mostly you will find yourself, and you do that already, but like more publicly and out in the world, I could see, like, I feel like on the ground, like I feel like that holding someone's hand, seeing them, hugging people, speaking with them in person, like that I feel like there's part of you that really will crave that and need that. Mostly you will find yourself in the role of the diplomat or trusted advisor who helps people get their lives in order. You will be called into emotional situations of all sorts, sometimes applying a loving hand and at other times needing to bang people's heads together to get them to see sense, knowing when the tough love is important. The challenge for you is to remain objective in dramas so that you are emotionally clear yourself. It reminds me of the show like Ileana Fix My Life. I don't know if you guys ever watched that on, I forget the network, that I think it was Oprah or like it was a Harpo, but that's what it reminds me of. Your gift is getting people to appreciate both themselves and those in their life who are in a position to affect their emotional well-being. Yeah, there you go. So it's DAngela Fix My Life. Like that's the theme we're going with here. You will find that it always falls to you to be the mediator in the realm of emotions, the arena of pain and pleasure, agony and ecstasy, delight and desire, sex, food, drugs, addictions, and all of the highs and lows of life. In your own way, you will guide many people to transform their difficulties into benefits, their trials into accomplishments, and their shortcomings to profits. You have ways, I literally have to stop here because I can't forget to say this to you, and I feel like it's like the psychic download of like, I feel like the branding can come later when you like are speaking to women more broadly that have been through abuse, are single parents. Like there's somebody that have like, you really have such empathy for people who have been through such dark moments in life, but it made it out to the other side, where like you're helping them with like how to learn nervous system integration, or like maybe how to apply for housing as single moms, like, and the mindset behind that, their mentality. And the branding could be like a workshop that you teach for women who you've kind of walked through some sort of program or worked with in some sort of way, where like then you can, that's like next year or like the year after, or even 6 months from now, right? It's all relative to how fast this progresses. That's the excitement of not knowing how fast and how soon, right? But it's definitely in the cards for you. But then the branding can be like a day where like maybe you have somebody come in that's like specializes in Squarespace, and then you can talk about like, oh, I see that you as Sabrina, I'm just going to use a name, has such a beautiful gift for like marketing and speaking in this way. Here's how you can capitalize on that. Okay, Mrs. Lee or Leanne, I'll say, of Squarespace, you're going to teach us today the practical way that we can get this person to brand. So it's like, that's a way that you can kind of create like collaborative efforts for you. I just have this vision of like you being in a conference room, and I don't know why, but I felt like that was just important to say that. Or like out in Colorado proper. Last couple sentences, when we have 2 minutes before I pivot over into Leticia and then Dani. You have ways of making an ordeal into an experience, sometimes imparting to everyone a deep sense of acceptance for all the trials that life can offer, considering them to always grow in our strengths and abilities. You were designed to be more competent than most in the ways of the world. Don't take that for granted. And when you apply yourself wisely and in accordance with your own energy type and authority, you naturally bring benefit for yourself and others, and you avoid those situations that must be left to others to resolve. I think automatically collaborating with some sort of business that's looking for speakers. For women, Administrative Professionals Day was also a big one where they would like celebrate a couple of the offices I used to work in would do like a special events for women in the office. In addition, like they would have like men and like a men's group, a women's group. Thinking it in terms of that also can be really helpful as like where is there a need of people who are already looking, so the invitation is already a little bit more open for you as a projector to like work with the energies there. They need someone to be like the speaker for their event, for this Women's Administrative Professionals Day. Here's how you can come in and kind of help them, right? Thank you, Root Healing. I appreciate you. But yeah, so I'm excited for you. I feel like there's so much like in your, it just feels like on the ground. Like you want to be on the ground is like the best way that I can like kind of think of like the vocabulary. And maybe I'm doing a little God-given channeling for you as I'm saying these words, but it feels like you just know that you're like ready to kind of take it to the next step for yourself, right? And be able to put some boots on the ground. Oh, are you in Denver actually? Okay, wait. Are you in Denver? Because I actually have a friend that we can connect you with, that I went to college with that works at a metaphysical store. Oh, Dallas. Okay. So any of my Dallas folks, I don't know any Dallas people that have access to stores, but we can put out the casting call for Dallas. We'll see who comes up in our orbit, but there's definitely, I mean, just being in a major city like that's helpful in and of itself. Metaphysical stores, again, thinking of that. Yeah, I know. Well, maybe we'll just manifest you traveling back there and you'll be flown out there. Yay. Okay. Thank you, DAngela. Well, obviously we have each other here connected. So, I'm going to pivot over into Leticia and then Dani. Thank you guys for, being so, understanding of our time overflow here. So for Leticia, my spiritual gifts have gotten way stronger since my first read with you, which is really exciting. Congratulations. Just any spirit-led message you may have. Ooh, the first thing that I gravitated towards is your gate of extremes. Allowing yourself to not be agreeable is also what comes to mind. Like being okay with not everybody being happy with you because you're happy with you. Like, I know that this is inconvenient for me to act this way, but like, I don't care because it's what's good for the greater collective, greater community. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think just the affirmation of like, ooh, like this feels like with the intuitive nudge, and also like we just had Cancer that was on connecting or aspecting in Gemini, your gate 15, Venus. We also see that where, yeah, exactly. The whole weirdo is so helpful. I think that what's so beautiful about like Virgo moon women. So DAngela and Leticia, you have sun moon synastry. So Leticia, you have a Virgo moon. DAngela has gate 6 Virgo moon. DAngela has a gate 6 Virgo sun. So the way that you help people, also very nourishing. There's probably some things that I said to DAngela that you also can connect with Leticia for that reason. So I would come up with, and similar to actually what I said to Danielle earlier, who's the psychic intuitive, like, what's your structure? Because anytime I see Virgo energy, I think of the High Priestess card in tarot, and that may also mean something to you intuitively. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's exactly that. And it's funny because DAngela's reading was actually, I gave some similar tips to, of people who like have stores or businesses where you could do like a psychic pop-up, or there's a lot of like women who are on like boards of ed, or like my friend Ryan that I haven't seen in forever. I've known him since I'm 11 years old as well. I have two friends named Ryan I've known since I'm 11, and his mom is actually doing a fundraiser where they're having a psychic come in and for paid like readings, and it's like a dinner with the psychic, or like dinner with spirit. And she's like very into it, but she just isn't gifted in that way fully. I think she is, but she just doesn't practice it, but that's neither here nor there. But like thinking outside the box in that way, where there's still people who appear very corporate and organized, and like they wouldn't pay for a psychic to do something like that are doing things like that. And I think we're seeing kind of like the next wave of that happening right now. And with all of your Virgo, Leticia, like you're able to also vocalize it, because you have that gate 47 and that gate 6 is what I'm pointing to, your Saturn and your moon, which is a good combo to have. Although it feels trying, it's actually good for business. Hello, my furry baby just walked into the room, my cat. But that's where it gives you the structure to be able to like mix business with pleasure in a good way. Like if you haven't started monetizing it, to make it more clear for what I'm saying, like I think really starting to create offerings, offering your spiritual services, like you're at that point now if you haven't done so. And I think you get to decide like, well, what's a fun way for you to do that? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's so funny because I was gonna say, not funny, was he a Leo, or did he have Leo energy, or was his name Leo? This is Benny. He's Benito, because we found him outside of a pizza place, and I looked up Italian names, and I was like, oh, Benito. And then I was like, well, maybe Mussolini, and having the same name as Mussolini isn't like the best, so he became Benny. Oh, Jupiter, I love that. Oh, I know, I am too. Yeah, I'm just like shy. Oh, he was an orange cat. Oh, I love that. Like a Garfield. Yeah, mine's gray. He's gonna try to run away. I can't grab him from my vantage point. But maybe he'll pop up here. But yeah, he just walked in. He's been sleeping upstairs this whole time. I've been down here for like 3 hours already. So a sign from your furry friend. Your Jupiter, actually, through his name being Jupiter, is also in Virgo in gate 59, which is bond making, and in the same line that I have it, which is the line of the Hermit. So it's like there's a shyness to us, meaning that not everybody gets access to us all the time. Yeah, your Jupiter. Yes, Jupiter cat. I love that. Oh, there we go. DAngela, thank you. Yeah, I have to send you the story. Oh yeah, please do. Your direct spirit guide. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. I know, I swear, I'm like, this little guy saved me the time that I found him. I really needed him. Yeah, please do. I'm excited. But yeah, with that Jupiter, like gate 59, it's like really paying attention to the expansion of who you connect with. And I think that you may find initially, as you're refining, like, and you may have done this up until this point, so use your discernment for like what has happened and how exactly your spiritual gifts have grown. Like maybe you mean that like you've also been practicing. I think you'll enjoy one at a time, and then get better at like group or like families, maybe even doing like a small group of 3 people, and then can do like the larger like events and things like that. All numbers. Yeah, exactly. So it's like figuring out that blend. So our numbers also, like, it's funny because your age is also an angel number for me right now. Thank you, Sarah. Dani, I'm just running 3.5 minutes behind. So I saw that you popped in again, but I don't know if you heard me say that. So I'm wrapping up with Leticia, and then you will carry us lovingly home. So thank you for the patience. I just wanted to say the disclaimer. Yeah, like times turn to dates. Yes, my connections come through date and time. Oh, I love that. 44. Yes, I know. Happy birthday month. We're right there. But yeah, thank you, Dani. I appreciate that. And your 3/6 too, like you just have such an ability to like help people through such like difficult challenges. And also like, I feel like there's an aspect of really connecting with people who have lost like a partner that they've been married to for like years, or like the relation. I mean, it's always sad when we lose somebody, but like our grandparents, we generally know by society standards, like we lose at like a certain age, or like our grandparents were expected and trained mentally to handle the death of a grandparent better than say the death of a child, or like the death of a so like our partner or something, like young, right? Like and I think that you, with your psychic gifts too, based on your human design, but also intuitively, it feels like there's more of an activation there too. My mother-in-law passed, and it was after her that I seen my father-in-law and how she changed him. Oh wow, yeah, that's amazing. Well, I mean, hopefully for the good, right? Like, did she change him in a good way, or was it maybe not so good. It depends, right? That's open to interpretation. Just in that the characters that it limits you to. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's like that taking the lens becomes more clear, right? I think also helping people understand like the dynamics. I was just in New Orleans actually, and I was in an Uber. Amazing change, but it was because she was sick and he lost her. Yeah, it's so upsetting, but I think that there's just so much peace that you'll bring, like Danielle too, like the two of you just will bring so much peace to so many people that like that's the real beauty. And I bring your incarnation cross into that as well, because that's a beautiful connection for your placements too, to be like, okay, like right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix is like really having love relationships, like romantic relationships, be at the forefront of like whatever you do. And so I can see how that will be woven through all of your like connection also. And I love that you have like your cat familiar too. I'm actually, Leticia, if you're around tomorrow, like this time tomorrow or even earlier tomorrow at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time, on YouTube, I do a little bit more of my channeling work. I channel for free over on YouTube. So I'll be in less of like the data-driven headspace and I dip into both when I am on here. But if you would want to like have me kind of extend today's reading into tomorrow, and that is for everybody that's here if you guys are interested in that. I start with like doing some intuitive like psychic channeling over on YouTube. So I'll be starting that tomorrow night at 7. I may start a little earlier, but I'll still be on at 7. So I just say that to offer the extra kind of loving nudge. But I would love to see you like, yeah, okay, cool. Thank you so much. And let me know, say hi when you're in, because I use this software that doesn't show me your names like it does here when you pop in. So just let me know in the chat when you're there. So we can chat more. But I'm excited. Thank you for letting me read for you. We'll continue with you tomorrow too. So I'm excited for that. And then I have beautiful Dani, who will be carrying us home here as the last reading of the evening. Thank you all so much for pouring into me and letting me pour into you and doing what I love and being able to help you guys. It's truly such a fun gift. Thank you. You as well. So Dani, your question is, what is the best way for me to work? As in, should I schedule, plan, etc.? I'm a writer and content creator. Oh, that's amazing. And trying to find the best way to work. Yeah. So you also have gate 5 like me, which is what makes answering this question a lot easier. We're the same age. I'm 31 as well. And it took me about like 29 years to figure this one out, right? It definitely takes a lot of time. So gate 5 people, I also have it on my design side. So it's something I wasn't fully aware of using or how to use it right away. This is a Sagittarius gate placement, and it's your Sagittarius moon on your design side. It's not going to be connected to your natal chart in tropical astrology. It's your design date is the day in human design that we believe that your soul implanted into your physical body. The sun sign on your design side, so gate 46 up there, and your sun gate 11 on the personality side are exactly 88 degrees apart when it comes to the calculation in the zodiac wheel. And then it's about 88 days before you were born. And I think, Josh, you were saying something about 88 maybe one of my last lives, if I'm not mistaken. There was someone was doing a little helpful numerology for us. So just so you know kind of a little bit of the foundation. So you are a planner. What's helpful, right, if we know about you being a manifesting generator like myself, is that you only like change when you are in control of change. Yeah, exactly. You're like, what's one more piece? Let me just add on the Sag moon. That's why you're realizing that like being a writer or a creative person, there's a part of you that likes to cherry pick things that you would have learned from a corporate structure. That's like so helpful to like your Sag Mercury and your Venus, like literally like such a tight conjunction, like a degree or two apart. Like we see, even if they may be the same degree, just it's like degree and then minutes. I can see that with gate 26, which is the gift of words too. So like you being a writer, it's like right on the money for you. What I want you to notice is a couple things, and this is what really helped me as somebody with gate 5 that I can gift you with too. I don't know if 7 is also a number, but there's a lot of 7s here right now. Looking at your life in seasons, even if you don't live, I don't know if you're still an East Coast girly like myself, but looking at what you are doing or how your body feels throughout seasons of the year. Oh, there you go. Okay, so just another helpful affirmation for you. What does the winter look like? What does the fall look like? Okay, there, yes, okay. So being born in New York, right? You have a little bit of energy. Although, what does like the spring season look like? What does fall look like? What do I generally want to do in the summertime? Excuse me, how does that shift? And that is very helpful where that's ingrained. Also, for anybody that has a period, and a gate 5 cycle syncing, the book Woman Code by Alyssa Vitti, highly, highly, highly recommend to also know what is happening hormonally in your body. Even if you're on hormonal birth control, I have friends who have used that book that are on hormonal birth control, and it is very helpful because they still go through fluctuations throughout that. So yeah, I had in the summer hot. Yeah, I see cycle. Oh, I love that. Okay, so you're already more in tune than you realize, right? So what's nice is that if you know, like looking back, and this is also being a writer, I can say write this down, and that's your normal anyway. Writing down the times that you can reflect back on. What are the best times that you felt like you were on your shit with writing, right? Like what were you doing? Now, because gate 5 is your moon sign on your design side, I want you to go back and use AstroSeek's moon calendar and retroactively look at the dates around that time, right? If you can remember specific dates that you like submitted a short story on Vocals online that won an award and you won like 20 grand, for a short story or something like that. I want you to look at what sign the moon was in. Syncing with the moon as well, right? In addition to another cycle that you can sync with, the moon cycle. Every 2.5 days, the moon changes signs. So it was Sagittarius moon. I think today at this time, it may be swiftly going into Capricorn. Tomorrow, I know because the moon will be in Capricorn, since it's my 12th house. I'm an Aquarius rising. Capricorn is my 12th house. That I am going to be more in like my witchy, like subconscious, like one foot in the sky, one foot on the ground, right? So your 12th house moon days, you may feel more like, you want to write about your dreams or do like more fantasy. Whereas like when you're writing and the moon is in the same sign as your first house, you may feel writing about like aura and energy, and like, it depends on the content. Or you may be writing, if you write like a fantasy novel, for example, you may be writing when the moon sign is in your first house, or the current moon, if you're a Sag rising and the moon is in your first house, for example. Yeah, and my Sages love it. Like, it allows you, because Sag moons, like your Sag moon on your design side, like you go feral with like 9 to 5 structure. Because it makes more sense. If you think of like OG, like if I were to make like a career for Sages, right? Oh, I love this. Okay. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Where are you published anywhere? Where can we read? Are you on Substack? For any of my other fellow readers here. But like if you have so much Sag, right? Like you would be a cartographer. Okay, yeah. Maybe another helpful psychic little nudge for you. But if you're a cartographer, if the penultimate Sag energy is being a cartographer, you want to go ahead and be like, okay, I need to shift at any given time. I've charted the seas because I never know when I have to go on my next voyage, right? I need to walk over here and survey this land because I'm making another part of the map. Like your Sag energy is always moving around and fluctuating, but ironically, it's because you are so in tune with like set seasons and schedules, right? You are the only other person that I've read for in a very long time that also has the full backbone. Like my fiance has this too. You guys have like the best energy. You're always hyped to do anything, as long as it doesn't impede like what your wants and needs are, which I love. I've been hiding away, but I did a witchy thing during Yule, and I was like published, and it was like published a damn book. I love that. Yes, I feel like there's such a with your placements, like you're so charismatic, and people just are kind of like, I feel like it's very easy for them to get obsessed with you, for better or for worse, especially with your Jupiter and Scorpio, that like paying attention to where you can, I feel like you could play into, if you haven't already, in like a Tumblr days, like Manic Pixie Dream Girl, to like people on Tumblr, and that being a part of like your marketing for like them, right? Like maybe going through that era of life, or maybe never left, right? I don't know. But like that kind of like finesse to your energy. But yeah, picking down, yeah. Listen, I have to go. I literally have it saved. I forget what my URL is, but What I didn't want to forget to say is to reverse engineer your day. So a couple other things that I do to schedule my day as a gate 5 person is I always plan my top 3 things and outline my important appointments of the day the night before. And at the top of the page, I literally write like a bullet point of like all the things that I know I have to do. Like, okay, 3:30, 1 hour reading with so-and-so, 7 o'clock live. I write those like 6 main things down, my content, like whatever else I have to do. And then at the bottom, I'll write like the actual times that I have to do them. And then from that list, I'll kind of plug in like larger time blocks. Like I'm not somebody that with my morning routine, the first thing I do is always drink coffee, and I won't, it doesn't matter what time I woke up, as long as that's the first thing that I do when I wake up, right? And I retroactively like, okay, maybe I can sleep in a little bit more today because my first reading isn't until 3:30. I'm a night owl, so I'm not really talking to anybody before like 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like ever. That's like a guaranteed. If anyone wants to get on a phone call with me in the morning or work with me in the morning, that means that there's a lot of money that is being paid to get me to do that thing, because that's what makes up for it. So yeah, that's why I'm on here at like 10:30 on a Friday night, right? Like this is my jam. So that's where it's like knowing thyself as a gate 5 person. That's important for you. I'm just gonna switch to plug in my phone versus my computer. Yeah, so that will never steer you wrong at all. And then for content creation, I also recommend like tapping into the moon signs too, to write like what type of content. So if we are all collectively feeling the Sagittarius moon, right? If we think about like knowledge, travel, learning different systems, like expanding our mind, it makes sense that there's a lot of people that were here and got a lot of readings from me on a Sag moon day, right? Versus if I feel a little bit more introverted, or maybe I wanted to do something a little bit witchy for a Capricorn moon day because it's in my 12th house, I am going to pivot over to YouTube. And that was unintentional. That like for when I planned it, it was strictly because I wanted to give a YouTube day back because on Wednesday I was traveling. So it fits like, and Wednesday was I think a Sag moon day as well, or just started. So yeah, it can kind of help. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Last couple of days I've been in learning and planning mode. Yeah, exactly. Hi, water wind. Yeah. I can't see it from your human design body graph in this version, but what's your rising sign, Dani? But if you know, like from a content creation perspective, like how you feel versus like meeting yourself where you're at, if you know that you have like a more introverted day, but you know that you want to post content to be consistent. Hello. How can you focus on meeting yourself where you're at? Maybe it's a 7-second clip that's like your favorite quote from one of the books that you've read, right? Oh yeah, me too. Okay, I'm also an Aquarius rising. Yes. So our setup of our houses is the same. Thank you, Waterwind. I appreciate that. So that makes it very easy for me to remember exactly the setup of all of your houses. So and depending, like in Placidus, like I have a wide first house because I have 2 planets in Aquarius, and a wider second house because I have 3 planets in Pisces. I'm a Pisces sun, but so we have sun moon synastry. But my sun, yeah, I saw that. I know because gate 55 is a Pisces and Aries, but in the second line, Pisces moon placement. So my Venus, my Sun, and my Saturn are all in my second house. So I have some fellow second house activation there, which is helpful because that's what makes us like structured from like a business perspective too. And then noticing in Capricorn season, the reason that you hermited so much is because we had Pluto in Aquarius, which is kind of actually like some final degrees aspecting our late degrees of Capricorn for us Aquarius risings. There was some energy there. So I was like sick for the entire month of January, and I was like, fuck this, I need to do like the bare minimum and really hermit. Yeah, I really did. I was like concerned with, this is the most I've ever hermited and we were both 31. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but yeah, I felt that. So we were like same age. I'm a 94 baby though, but same age and like same setup of our transit. So knowing the moon sign, especially as an Aqua rising, is very helpful. And then we're ending our Saturn return also at this time. So like paying attention to the fact that you're like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit more like I'm getting disciplined in this area, Saturn being on top of your moon for your Saturn return, getting serious about like, what's a schedule that feels emotionally sustainable for Dani versus what it feels like for Brenna, for Josh, for Deanna, for all of us. It's like, what does that look like? So paying attention to that is important. The little cheat sheet that I'll give you that Deanna knows, because I just walk my Patreon people through this, is that Monday is ruled by the moon. And so when you look at your moon sign in astrology and human design, the gate, right? Like, so being a Pisces moon, every Monday, you're going to feel structure. They're going to feel like you want structure surrounding support of the emotional needs of your moon sign. And then you want to look at not only what sign, zodiac sign your moon is in, but what house it's in your natal chart. And that gives more intel. So another little helpful tip and hint I'll give you guys to help you organize. But yeah, gate 5 is like, I love that. Also, I'll say, Dani, with gate 46, like, you do have to be careful about, hi, Anita, about who you connect with, like, in person. But when you meet people in person and when you do show up, you know you're going to be perceived, which is why when you know you don't want to be perceived, you're hermiting. I don't know if you can speak Spanish if you're bilingual, but I literally am going to watch probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, the season finale episode of this really sweet show called Valeria. It's in Spanish, but I'm watching it. I'm practicing Spanish. My fiance speaks fluent Spanish. She's Cuban. But it's about this writer. It's basically if Sex and the City was in Spain and Madrid in like early 2021. So it's a really cute show, and it walks through her journey like in being a writer. And the last episode that I finished watching today reminds me of kind of like the same persona that you have. So I highly recommend it. It's literally like there's 4 women, like Valeria is Carrie, Lola is Samantha, Carmen is Charlotte, and Nerea is Miranda, like down to like her being a lawyer. So it's like, it's really cute. And if you like Sex in the City, there's still like sex involved, but I would say there's a lot more of an aspect of the writing career of Valeria, because she writes like novels versus Carrie writes the column. So I think you'll enjoy it. So I'll recommend that to you as well. And I think you'll find some helpful, especially having so much Sag. So Nerea, Nerea was her name. But it's funny if that's a connecting factor to you. It's spelled Nerea. So, oh wow, Mariella, that's so pretty. Maria, because it's Maria, the double L makes the Y sound, Maria. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. I like trick my reading comprehension and the translation of sounds. It does. I'm still learning. So it was very cute. So I have a Spanish tutor, and we meet once a week, and she was like, send me a song. And, I love that. There you go. Aw. She was like, send me a song. So I sent her the song Tarot by Bad Bunny, and she made me this whole, like slideshow to practice like verb conjugation, with, all like verb conjugation with the song. So we can like practice. It was very sweet. So I was happy that she did that. She's really smart and creative. Of course we got to talking about this. She's a projector, actually. So how do you feel about using your sidereal chart for human design? Hi, EK. Yeah, she's amazing. I like it. I think it just is a matter of like, if you use sidereal tropical, what I'll say is at the end of the day, like really what we're using all of these tools for is a way to find a vocabulary that fits with how we feel on the inside, and giving us tools to understand how to enact on them tangibly and logically in the 3D realm. So while I use my chart generator still follows tropical astrology, which is what Ra-Uru had used as the system to create human design and pull it all together, I don't yuck anyone's yum when it comes to sidereal. Do I use it personally, professionally? No, but I don't find any way that it seems to have been damaging. I think the only damaging thing that comes from it is when people start to make it a pissing contest about like what's better and who is the bigger, badder reader. And, when we're doing things ethically, and if it resonates, like my traditional human design resonates, or my tropical human design, if you will, resonates, that is what feels good to me. So yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Absolutely. To me, it's like we all found, and this is how I feel about religion too. We all created really fucking complicated words and guidelines to explain the exact same thing. Hi, Dwadaki, that like we're feeling. And so instead of that exact opposite thing that I want to do with the work that I do in this community is create more division, when it's like, can't we all just get along? Which is I'm a Pisces, so it's very Pisces of me to say, right? And Aquarius rising, where I'm like, we're just talking about the same thing, but arguing about like who's whipping it out and whose is bigger, so to speak. So thank you. But yeah, as a final housekeeping, hello Jess, I'm signing off for the night now. I'll be on YouTube live. I'm going to practice some of my like intuitive psychic channeling, because I've been growing that gift as well as Leticia. So she's going to be one of my people I practice on. If you guys want to join me for that as well, tomorrow, that's going to be over on YouTube at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. This live is going to be downloaded and uploaded to YouTube as well. So for any of my people that wanted to listen back or listen to their reading again, that's a place for you guys to be able to read back and refer back to again and again for your reading. So if you think about like about what time it was, and this live has been 7:30, 8:30, 8:30, 9:30. I've been here 3 hours. So kind of thinking about chunking that down, I started about 7:30, and thinking about what time you got your reading, you can kind of do the math. If you got a reading at 8:30, it's going to be an hour and a half in. So I'm going to try to get better at my timestamps too. But so far I have not yet had the bandwidth to do that, but that's on my to-do list. But yeah, so thank you guys so much, Dani, everybody. I appreciate you guys being here. Deanna, it was so nice to see you and have you guys be a part of this. I'll be back on TikTok next Thursday. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys over on YouTube tomorrow. So love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your Venus day or your Saturn day. Yeah, sounds good. I look forward to it. And I'll see you over there. So I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.